Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting nippy up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
Gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers. Happy Wednesday, September 27th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Full 16-game MLB card with the double dip at Citi Field. And then best bets in college football. 3 best bets from Big Ragoo and 2 best bets from myself. The sides I gave out last week, 3, 2, and 1. And the totals 0 and 2. No more totals. College football totals not being kind to me. That's fine. Cut them out. It's not like we don't have an enormous board to hammer away at if you just focus on sides. So I'm going to let totals go for a little bit and just focus on sides and positive ROI and sides. So just going to keep hammering away at that. We'll do the whole card on Thursday and Friday, obviously, in college football. And then I have 2 more best bets. I just want a little bit more time on for tomorrow, and then maybe more. But I've got 2 more that I do want to attack. It is great to see all of you guys. Justin McElvey in the house says, going to miss the start of the live show. Wanted to share stacks. Has hit 3 straight, and it is Jose Ramirez over 1.5 bases at plus 100 from my guy, Justin McElvey. Let's copy and paste that action in Reds Guardians. Reds Guardians. Game 150. What is it? 159 for the Reds? Wow. Jesus. Time flies. It doesn't actually. Time is a crawl when you're losing in baseball. I love it, Justin. Thank you for sharing that. There's my guy, Truth Teller, in the house. We love you, man. We love you, dude. We love capping with you. Truth Teller ready to get to work. Ron Crawford, MLB spreadsheet play of the day. Houston Astros. Oh, God, the season win total for the Mariners is slipping through my grasps. The 4-game losing streak just at the worst possible time. It sucks when you think you've got a future and it goes away. 85 wins. So they have 5 games left against the Astros and Texas Rangers, and I need the Mariners to win 3 of them. That's a lot to ask. I'm not comfortable. There's our guy, the nuke worker, ready to get to work. Billy Friedrich, B. Lee, ready to go. The nuke worker, Jeffrey Moore, says, Stacksman, I was on Ramirez yesterday, knew it was going to lose after the Oh, yeah. The walks hurt. There's Reclaim James, the star of the Ass Eater play of the day. Wine Time Sports, ready to get to work. There's Troy Torrance, my co-host and bankroll blitz. He had a monster week 3 and ROI this season just under 10%. I think it's 9.32, and that's with the high volume of action. Shout out to our guy Troy Torrance. Lucas Ryan, pimp slap play of the day, ready to go. JT Jeffrey Moore, ready to eat. What up, Jeffrey? J Smooth, JT Eel, Mr. Vape, J Dub, Jedi for Life, Slats. He says Yankees plus 108 versus Jays was the first bet I made this morning. Cole dominated them last time out. Judge expected to be back in the lineup. Deacon Mike says, Jimmy, are you available to play right field in Atlanta tonight? Yeah, it's been a roller coaster with your Cubs. But hey, you cashed your season win total over. So I know you want more. I know you'd like to see them in the playoffs. Dan Kelly has Europe at plus 135 in the Ryder Cup. Got it a few weeks ago. Europe down to even money. Says now value is gone. More importantly, no, I don't. I know that beating the number is not always the recipe for success. CLV does not necessarily guarantee glory, but it's still nice to be in. It's a good feeling, isn't it? Ken Wood ready to go. Joey Harb in the house. Great to see all of you guys. Mally Mal, Luke Murphy, Key and VP Eats and Travels. There's Matty Ice in the house. Star the Taint play of the day. Man, we missed that action. Great to see all of you guys. So, if there's anything to review from yesterday, it's NFL action. I have made 2 bets in college football, and I'll be adding more. In CFL, I expect we went 1-1. We actually made a little bit of money because of the Red Blacks at plus 120, but it's, just minimal. But for CFL, and we'll talk about it on Friday, but I expect to move on the Red Blacks and the Tiger Cats for Saturday action. And I think that with Chad Kelly being out, the spot on the Bombers is probably come and gone. I don't know. I guess I need more time on it. In NFL, I'm on the Bills minus 2.5, Miami, Buffalo, first half under 27, Baltimore, Cleveland, under 41, Cincinnati, Tennessee, under 41.5. I'm on the Colts minus 1, the Buccaneers plus 3 at plus 100. I could have moved on it at Pinnacle at 3.5 at minus 122. But I feel like that the VIG is being a little too high for me so far this year. I mean, my average line is just minus 111, but I'd like to veer away from those spots if I can. And I've decided to do that here. We'll see if that ends up biting me. Tampa Bay, New Orleans under 40.5. Minnesota, Carolina over 45.5. Kansas City, New York Jets under 42.5. And I'm also on the New York Giants minus 1. So for sides, I'm only on the Colts minus 1, Bucks plus 3, Giants minus 1, and Bills minus 2.5. Matty Ice has tried to give out some good attaint today. Ronnie and Bergia hit with the D-backs first 5 Rays, first 5, and the Padres. And Ron Crawford, KBO spreadsheet play today. Kia is in at minus 140. KBO spreadsheet play of the day is in. It is Kia at minus 140. All right. It is time to get to work. This is an opportunity that I get very excited about. And that is the opportunity to not only cap with you guys, which is my inspiration to work hard is you guys, but the opportunity to cap with a scorecaster like the Big Ragoo is an opportunity that I don't take lightly. And I also make money doing it. He's a hell of a capper. We're going to talk about his 3 best bets in college football after we break down the MLB card. And I have 2, but we're going to break down the entire MLB card with our guy now making his home in Ocala, Florida, by way of New York City. Please welcome the Big Ragoo to the show. Doc, how are you?
Good. New York City. Remember the Pace Picani commercials back in the day,
I think about it every time I say it. It's how old are we?
What's happening, chat? What's going on, fellas? We're ready to make some cash today. Let's get at it, brother. I enjoyed your show last night with Troy. That was a great show. I watched every minute of that. That was fire. So shout out to Troy and his hard work he's doing with you guys.
Yeah, it's I really enjoy what's happening there, and I'm all in. Like I'm all in on that show. I believe in it, and I want to get paid because of it. And I did add a little bit to my bets, so it's a little over a unit. I went over the 1 unit barrier for all 10 of those bets. I'm excited. I'm excited about the opportunity, and I would like to continue the momentum from last week. And I think that week 2 slap in the face can be helpful sometimes. Sometimes you need to know that what you're dealing with is very difficult, and you got to be at your absolute best if you want to succeed. And so I, although it hurt week 2, it was great seeing us bounce back and gave me a lot of hope for week 4 here in NFL. And we can't wait to hear your best bets in college football.
You know what? As far as football goes, normally I start out a little slower, but I had the pleasure of being on your show twice, for the pub Sundays, and I had 2 good Sundays in a row. Shocking, not shocked, but not usual form for me early on in the NFL season. So, and I kind of pulled back on week 3 a little bit, and I think I put 2 plays or 3 plays in the chat. I went 2-1, and on the live show I lost 2 plays. So, I a little bit of a split there, but so far NFL has been pretty good for me this season. So I hope we continue that going forward. But yeah, we'll see what we come up with this weekend. And today we're going to cap the MLB, like you said, a few plays in college football, and hopefully we can tear this card down. You know, we got the tail end of the MLB season, some meaningless games, some games that mean a lot. So we'll see what we put together, put some W's on the board.
Yeah, and in these important games, we're seeing unders coming in wildly. I've been so focused on football that I've let baseball go the last few days, but I've been seeing these unders fly in. I've not moved on MLB. It was a very late night of getting the action out and then capping this card, and very, very early morning capping this card. So at that point, I would just prefer to talk everything out before I move on it, although I did move on 2 spots in college football. Let's get right to work. It is great to see all of you guys. Reclaimed James Asseter today. Play of the day is on Oryx Buffaloes, a -110 for Reclaimed James. 8-1. This man is 8-1. Let's copy and paste this right here. Oryx Buffaloes trying to go 9-1. Imagine hitting 9 of your first 10. There's Ralph Nunziata. Ralph, we've missed you. It is great to see you, my guy. It has been too long. RVD 420. We got a great group, so let's get right to work. We start with the lone. Oh, I guess it's not the lone afternoon spot because we have the first game of the double dip, but 2:10 p.m. Eastern, the Arizona Diamondbacks, 83-74, heavily entrenched in that second wild card spot, looking strong. Now 9 games over 500, 1 game over 500 on the road at the sad Chicago White Sox. Southsiders 60-97. Who would have thought they'd lose 100 games this year? 16 games under 500 at home. We're at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago, Illinois. Let's get right to the weather here in this one. We have 68 Fahrenheit, 9.6 miles per hour in, gets up to 11.7 miles per hour. Ballpark Pal then has Guaranteed Rate Field plus 7% still in home runs, but minus 24% in doubles and triples, minus 1% overall. We have Coors Field, of course, being unbelievably offensive, and then nothing else. After Coors Field, which is plus 31% runs, it's Oracle Park next. And how often do we see Oracle Park at the top of that list? Oracle Park at plus 3%. Every other game is negative except for Target Field. That's at 0% here. The taint play of the day is in, and a whole card for us. Let's copy and paste all of this right now. A whole card. Copy and paste all of the action from taint play of the day. And we have Houston, Seattle, first 5 under 4.5. He's also on Baltimore full game run line, Reds money line, Arizona first 5 minus a half, and also loving the Tigers full game run line. I love it. Scooble on the mound. Yeah, it's I was surprised that line wasn't moving, and very interested in that. So, Billy Friedrich, I was with you on the over. That hurt. Al Cervic, respect. Thank you for being a big part of our show last night. We loved it. So let's talk about the pitching matchup. And I can't talk about Brandon Pfaadt without talking about our guy, Gifted Cartel. He told me that Brandon Pfaadt was trash, and I said that he was the best pitching prospect in the Diamondbacks organization. He was coming off a shutout, and he was going to show the Yankees. And I had them first 3 and first 5 at plus money. And I beat the line move by 20 and 25 cents, and Pfaadt got eaten alive. 6 runs, 5 earned over 4 1/3, 2 homers. Now 8 Ks and no walks, but that's not enough. There's my guy, Gifted Cartel, in the house. Gifted Cartel. There's always a few cappers I think about when I'm watching the action. And oh, you were right, and I was very wrong on Brandon Pfaadt. But will he bounce back here in a huge game for the Diamondbacks, and of course a meaningless game for the White Sox? On the road, Pfaadt has a 5.68 ERA. He hasn't won a game on the road. 0-4 over 44 and a third innings. You can tell I'm tired. I wrote 44 and a quarter innings. 40 strikeouts, 10 walks, 15 homers, 257 opponents batting average. Going up against Luis Patino now on the Chicago White Sox by way of the Tampa Bay Rays. He's not been starting. His last appearance was September 20th. He went 2 innings. It didn't allow any hits or runs. It didn't strike out a batter, but did walk 2. It was a 13-3 loss. He didn't look bad. Diamondbacks versus righties, 235, 700 OPS. White Sox versus righties, 239, 656 OPS. This Diamondbacks bullpen is playing playoff baseball right now. 2.37 ERA in September, while the White Sox bullpen, 6.10 ERA. Let's get into the line history here for this one and see where the cash is at. I'm so heavily into the football. Let's move over to MLB and see what we are dealing with for our 210 spot, Fott versus Patino. And I am interested in Fott, but do you want a big road favorite? I think that my interest is, I don't know. We'll see what Doc has to say about this spot. Let's see what the line history is. This opened up at minus 171. It's now minus 185. This had not moved at all. This does concern me. This had moved towards the White Sox when the line opened up. This opened up at minus 171 at 8:05 in the morning. And it immediately, in 26 minutes, it was down 14 cents. Then the buyback started happening, and now we have it. Is that? I wonder if that's not the sharp action. I wonder if believing in Fott is a recipe for disaster here. But I still do believe in him. Obviously, that was an important spot, in his last one. It was in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium, and that's a sign of character. Can you step up in late September in, the most storied, I guess it's not anymore because it's the new Yankee Stadium, but, it's still Yankee Stadium, and he couldn't do it. He could not do it. From a total perspective, we're sitting at 9.5, and it opened up at 9 at 8:05 in the morning. It moved to 9.5. It's not a real 9.5. It's minus 118 to the under. And when we go over to the cash flow for our first game on today's board, 2:10 p.m. Eastern start, we have 81% of the tickets and 67% of the cash on the Diamondbacks, 65% of tickets and 68% cash on the over. I would love to sit here and say Fott's going to bounce back. I want him here. I wish the market was agreeing in this. It's not. There's Ricky Levine in the house. We got Wally ready to get to work. And Matty Ice says Diamondbacks first 5 minus a half is on his card. So take it away for us here, Doc. Our afternoon action to get us through the day, Diamondbacks, White Sox.
Yeah, this is Fott isn't one of these guys I know you like him a little bit. His record doesn't reflect anything to get to the window with, obviously, with the 608, 2-9, win-loss record. But how do you get right? You come up against a team like the Sox in an important game for them, obviously, for the D-backs. But then you look at the other side, and you're like, you know what? This Patino kid, he came up through the Rays organizations. The Rays are good at, picking up these pitchers prospects for development. After the break, he came up. All his roles, the five games he's been in, have been all in relief. To his credit, they've been in losing efforts when he's came in. Like I think he came in behind Cease when he was down, and I went back through his log. But the good thing about him, he his numbers are not bad in actuality. He has a higher ERA, but in all the instances, some games have been 1 run, short work. Some game 2 runs, a little bit longer work, but very respectable pitcher here with this Patino. So, and I really don't want to back Fott for that big number. And I think he can throw, he can throw early on. He can throw pretty solid, and I think so can Patino here. So, I was trying to, and I don't think Patino. The question is for me is how many innings do we get out of Patino? That's the real question for me. So. I'm going to make a first 3 bet on this game to the under. I think, like you said, I think he will come up against these Sox lineup pretty hard. I don't think we see a lot of runs early. I know the total is basically 10. I think the first 3 innings, under 2.5 at minus 105.
Well, that 2.5 is sitting in front of me at plus 115.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know they're probably coming back on the D-backs a little bit. Bet he's going to score some runs. But when I looked at it this morning, it was 105. So if I get 115, put me down for that too.
That is a very, very interesting angle here. A very interesting angle.
Yeah, I just can't back Fott at that number. I think full game, they probably take the game. But that's a game that's out of my price range. And I really don't trust I trust the Arizona bats. Walker, he's lighting up the scoreboard. He cracked 100 RBIs, a former ex-Gamecock, which I know personally, Christian Walker. So, yeah, I'm excited for the D-backs. They played well all year. We kind of waited for that spot where, we figured they'd fall back. But, they played solid ball, deservingly so, and they should beat up on these White Sox. But I don't trust Fott. I trust Patino a little bit more early on. So Put me on the under. First 3 under 2.5.
And it looks like this line move here. We also have 59% chance of rain in this one. Let's find. I didn't see that initially, but I remember seeing it red on RotoWire. Let's just go to Chicago weather. And if anybody in Chi-Town right now could let us know what it is like. But the showers start, well, they're definitely raining at 4 p.m. Let's go to hourly here. So that will be right in the heart of the game here. Let's go to this hourly weather here. See if we can AccuWeather. Here we go. All right, hourly Chirac weather. So we have thunderstorms at 11 a.m., 51% chance of precipitation. And then at 2 p.m., it's 61 with thunderstorms. Thunderstorms, I don't even know. This game might not even go. Dab Fence says Diamondbacks don't lose today. Deacon Mike saying wind blowing in from left center. Griff the Cartel says Patino 14 innings pitched at home, 4.50 ERA. Most definitely going to be who has the best bats, Arizona and the over again. I like where you're at. I like your first 3 under 2.5. And I want to back bot here, but I don't. I agree. He probably shouldn't be this big of a favorite. And I know clearly him screwing me over, that's usually a spot where I jump back on him. I'm surprised to see some bigger bets here on the White Sox, I guess, at the dog line. And then, I think it's fair to say that this big market move towards Arizona also has to do with who isn't in the lineup for the White Sox. And Dav Fenn talking about Anderson and Grandal. I mean, this is a pretty weak lineup. I mean, you got Andrews, Benintendi, Vaughn, Jimenez, Sheets, Perez, Thompson, Sosa, Remilliard at second base. I mean, it's a pretty ugly lineup, man. A pretty ugly lineup.
If you go back to Fox's last 3, he did face the Cubs like on almost like a back-to-back, where he pitched like 5 scoreless but then he got touched up the time before that. So maybe, like you say, he comes back today and he throws some solid, early action for him. And then I'm not crazy. I understand the overlook. I really do. But you don't know what you're going to get from either of these guys. But I trust Fott early, and I trust Patino a little bit early too.
15 Ks and 12 walks for Patino. I mean, and that's what the Rays despise. They do not walk batters. That's their rule. Don't give out free bases.
Yeah.
I'd like to move on Arizona. I guess the only way to do it now with this huge market move would take them on the run line, and it just doesn't interest me enough at this point. So,
it's a shit game, but it's an important game.
Yeah. Okay. I like your first 3 under 2.5 at plus 115. It's a big ball spot, and just for due diligence reasons, we could turn this in to a 3. I would just be curious to see exactly how much this will. Oh, damn, it's not here. Sorry, let me pull this up quickly. Would you like me to see how much that would cost?
For a 3?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, check it out.
Okay, then we'll move on here. So then again, we'll just use the -1 calculator. Here it is that our man Ron Crawford hooked us up with. And put up this, and we have the -175 and plus 115. It's -128, so it's takes a lot of the.
Yeah, let's stick with the 2.5.
Okay.
At this point in the season,
say what, my man?
I said at this point in the season, fuck it, let's go.
All right. Ragoo's on the first 3 under 2.5 at plus 115. I get that the Diamondbacks are probably the play. The opportunity to move on it is gone. Matty Ice looking at the first 5. The Diamondbacks bullpen's been so good in September. I think that you get the second advantage with the bullpen battle, but I hear you, and good luck, you guys, on that. Let's move on to the double dip, 4:10 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk game 1. Miami Marlins 81-75, 35-40 on the road at the Mets, 71-85, 39-36 at home. Citi Field in Queens, New York. Braxton Garrett and Kodai Senga. Is that being confirmed? It has by Jose. Let's see if they've got it here listed as pitchers on the book. They don't. It is not on the board here at Bet365 because we're not sure when.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're not
I'm
sure when.
Lucchesi.
Yeah, well, Lucchesi, who I don't fully understand why he hasn't been in the majors, for the last little while. He's an old guy now, and he's a crafty lefty. But when is Cueto going to go? Is Cueto going to go in the second game? I think that they want to put Braxton Garrett up against Kodai Senga, and I imagine that would be the idea. But these are, the Marlins are still in this thing, and they have not been eliminated at this point, I believe, right? That's true, right? They haven't been in it. So, all right, let's break. So it's hard to get the line history without knowing exactly who is going to be in this spot. This game is not even here on the. Oh, here it is. Yeah, they have it as one game here with the line history. So I don't even think the line history is helpful at this point. Dizzy Rothstein, thank you for running with us, my guy. So let's just talk about the pitchers and expectations of the pitchers and some statistical analysis, and then wait to see who exactly is starting. Before Braxton Garrett, 9-6, 3.53 ERA, 1.14 WHIP. He's been lights out on the road this year, and he struggled at home. His last start was at home versus these very Mets, and he was lights out. 1 run, wasn't earned, 6 innings, 7 Ks, no walks. On the road this year, he's 6-2 with a 2.52 ERA, 225 opponents batting average. Kodai Senga, 2.96 ERA, 1.22 WHIP. His last start was against these Marlins, 8-3 win in Miami, and he looked great. And he's been so good at home this year, 2.35 ERA, 38 walks, 6 homers. The Marlins are hitting righties hard right now. In September, 270, 787 OPS, and the Mets are hitting lefties decent, 251, 740, and both bullpens are bad. If this is Garrett versus Kodai Senga, and we have the weather here at 62 Fahrenheit, 8.5 miles per hour in, dies down to 6.3, which I imagine will not be an offensive situation. Mm-hmm. Citi Field in their first game right now, minus 13% overall runs, minus 11 and minus 16 home runs and doubles and triples. I would like to look at the first 5 under, and if it's Garrett versus Senga. Let's start with those two pitchers. What are your thoughts if it is them matching up?
Yeah, that puts me on the under. I like what both pitchers have versus opposing lineups. Even though, like you said, both teams are hitting the opposite sides pretty well, but I think these two pitchers are the exception for those guys. But yeah, I was thinking the same exact thing. First 5 under. If we get the Senga Garrett matchup, and possibly looking at, I know I haven't been real successful at the K prop game. Probably a little less and more on the on the L side, but I would be interested in looking at a Garrett prop for a K rate too. But that's something we can probably figure in because we know he's going to go, but we don't know about Garrett, but Senga. But yeah, I would definitely lean to. I like the under here if both of these guys go first 5. It's probably going to be 8 the game, maybe like a 4, maybe 3.5 possibly.
Yeah, I think if it's Garrett Senga with this weather, it opens at 7.5. Yeah, I think. But is there any concern that they just faced these lineups 5 days ago and pitched great?
Yeah, well, somebody, yeah. I mean that's a big if too right there. So yeah, I mean that's got to play in too. So got to factor that back in there too. But
it's enough if it's a 3.5. The fact that they just shut down these opponents. Now, one of the things though is Braxton Garrett shut the Mets down at home where he's not been very good, and Kodai Senga shut the Marlins down. Well, not quite shut down, but quality start on the road where he's not being nearly as good as at home. So now they kind of get into their spots. In all honesty, I'd like to have afternoon action, but I don't. My ROI is not a positive when 2 pitchers have just shut down the opponent 5 days earlier, and then I sit back and expect it to happen again. So with that being said, I'm going to pass here. Now, what would possibly get me to want to bet this? And nothing. Now, maybe if it's Braxton Garrett versus Lucchesi, Is Lucchesi more vulnerable than Senga? Yes. Even though Lucchesi's numbers have been good. So that would give me, if it is Garrett versus Lucchesi. So let's talk about the pitchers that we're expecting in game 2. Johnny Cueto, if he goes, and I know he won't go for long. I mean, he's not been starting. And they coddle Cueto. He's throwing 48 innings this year. 31 and a third have come at home. I mean, they're trying to put him in the best possible situations, but he just doesn't have it anymore. His last appearance was on September 22nd. He pitched 1 inning in the 16-1 loss. So, I would expect the Marlins are going to need Braxton Garrett to go deep into the game because Cueto's not going to have a long leash here. If it is Cueto in game 2, I will be interested in the Mets early. A Mets first 3 would be a bet that I expect to be on my card if it is Cueto, and it may not be. And if it's an opener, I'm going to be capping. The kids will be in bed by 7:30, 7:45. So I'll be sitting there capping out. And if it is an opener and Cueto comes in, I'm going to live bet the Marlins immediately. The Mets immediately because Cueto is bad right now.
Yeah, I think it probably will be an opener. That's my guess.
What are your thoughts on Lucchesi? 3.0, 2.88 ERA, 1.28 WHIP. I mean, he was in the minors this year, and they bring him up.
He's like you said, he's the vet. Not a ton of action. Just in reality, they're just trying to fill a void right now for the end of the season for the Mets because they're not playing. They're not really playing for anything. So, I mean, his numbers have been decent for the little time he spent up in the bigs this year. Just moving around a little bit. So, what did he do last time out? He 4-3 against the Marlins.
Yeah, it was a 4-3 loss at the Marlins. 3 runs, just 2 of which were earned over 5 2/3.
And the D-backs, so he's 3-0 on the docket. So, I mean, not a lot to hate what he's done so far this year, but there's not a lot of it, So, and like you said, the Marlins hitting righties, or at home especially. I don't know. I don't know what. Oh no, Lucchesi's lefty. What the hell am I saying? But I don't know. I mean, that might be a good look. That might be a good look for the Mets early on. I like that actually. I like Lucchesi going up against the Marlins here. The left-handed pitcher coming in.
Yeah,
especially if the Marlins win the first game. Then I'm not a big double dipper guy. I usually focus on the first game, and then like today we can't even truly focus on the first game. But for what it is, on the surface, Lucchesi, I would pick that spot in the second game if Lucchesi goes.
I want to fade
the second game. If he goes in the first game, then like I say, and we get to 7.5, then I would be on the first 500.
Yeah, I like it. So that'll be my plan. My plan will be to fade Johnny Cueto and his shimmy. Let's move on. 6:10 p.m. Eastern. Cincinnati Reds at Cleveland. Guardians were at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. Over those 2 afternoon games, we did have a move by Doc. Big Ragoo is on the first 3 under 2.5 at plus 115 in White Sox. Diamondbacks. 6:10 p.m. here. Justin McElvey stacks play today on Jose Ramirez over 1.5 bases at plus 100. Reds versus Guardians in Progressive Field in Cleveland. Let's take a look at the weather here to get us started. We have 69 Fahrenheit, 8.4 miles per hour, right to left, but out to left field, over to the pole. And it stays, it kind of becomes pretty much right to left by the end of the game. 8.4 miles per hour. It opens at, it dies down to 5.7 miles per hour. And the Progressive Field is given minus 10% home runs, plus 1% doubles and triples, and minus 3% runs. Don Play says, so if Johnny Cueto pitches, are we going to take Mets money line? No, not a full game money line. No. So if, let's say he starts the game, I'll take the Mets first 3. And if he comes in the second or third inning, I'll take the Mets first 5. I still think that the Marlins have everything on the line, and I don't want to mess with those teams that badly. I'm not going to choose to mess with those teams. Chili Dog Dooley says Tito's last home game. A lot of emotion on the Tribe side. That's a great point, Chili Dog Dooley. An excellent point. So let's talk about the line history here for Tito's last home game, and Bieber on the hill who didn't look good in his first start after coming off the IL. This total opened up at 7.5 yesterday at 5:50 p.m. Lasted there for 4 hours and 11 minutes before it got to 8, sitting at 8 right now. So we have a half-run move to the over. Let's get over to the money line for this Reds Guardian spot, sitting with Bieber at minus 130. Minus 130. The Guardians opened up at minus 124. The initial move was towards the Reds, but then there was a 14-cent move about an hour and 20 minutes ago towards the Guardians. Let's go over to the cash flow here. On the total, there's 74% of tickets on the over, but just 39% of cash. It's interesting. It was enough to make the move from 7.5 to 8. And then 46% of the tickets on the Reds, but 77% of the cash. And we just saw this move for an hour and 20 minutes ago. Nate Dogg 420 in the house. So Andrew Abbott, a really strong rookie season, but he's clearly hit a wall. 7-5 loss at home versus the Pirates last out. Another spot where he couldn't even get through 5. He allowed 2 homers. They were solo shots, 7 Ks and 2 walks. Still, he's had a great season. But he is clearly not throwing like he did when he came up. 48 innings on the road, 3.94 ERA, 59 Ks, 23 walks, 278 opponent's batting average. And then Bieber coming off that 9-8 win at home versus the Orioles in his first start since coming off the IL. He'd been on there he was on the 60-day IL. 5 innings, 5 runs, 4 of which were in 5 Ks, and he didn't look great. He didn't look great. At home this year, he's got 3.66 ERA, 244 opponent's batting average. He's a pitcher whose velocity is down, so touch is so important. Being out for that long obviously didn't help him. Reds rating 236, but with power in September against righties, 771 OPS. Guardians are doing nothing against lefties, 225, 661 OPS. Reds bullpen 4.79 ERA in September, while the Guardians are 5.26. Take it away for us here, Doc. Reds, Guardians.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that market move on the over, the 7.5. I thought that was kind of a lower number for this type of game here this late in the season. I know Cleveland kind of struggles against the lefties. Cincinnati's, they get their bats get hot when they get hot, but like they did, last night, 11-7. But Cleveland, they've been hitting the ball pretty well too of late too. But I think just the way that Bieber's season's gone and the way that the Tribe season, I can still call them the Tribe. Cleveland's season is gone this year, and the Reds kind of tailed off, after being hot for so long. Just both teams here, they're just trying to look to finish strong and get through the end of the season. So I think we'll see more offense with both of these pitchers. I got to lean towards Abbott here in this particular spot now. I would probably say he would have the smaller advantage. So I really don't hate taking the Reds on the dog line here either, for that matter. So, but I like the over a little bit better here. So I'll make that official for me too. I'll take the over on the 8.
The over 8 for Ragoo. Over 8. Let's get this total up here. And a line chop for you. I got to pull up 2 of these. Should not be going back and forth. So sorry, I'll fix that. But let's go with the total over 8 for Abbott Bieber. So you're not putting too much into Tito's last game at home.
No, not really. I mean, it's as nice of a career he's had there, with them. It could be a send off with a W, but it could go the other way just as well. So I get I get it. I get the send off. I get all that good stuff, but I don't know. Just like I say, just the way their season's gone this season, it's just as fitting to go out with an L than a W.
Yeah, they've been very disappointing. Chili Dog Dooley says Bieber's outline is at 17.5, heavily juiced to the over at minus 160. So the books are expecting the bounce back. Billy Friedrich says Reds are playing for the playoffs, can't back Cleveland. I really believe Abbott is vulnerable and probably shouldn't be pitching right now. I like your look on the over.
Yeah.
I wonder if let's just see what Pinnacle is hanging for a Guardians team total. And then I just want to touch on what Abbott has done these last couple games. So first off, we'll go over to this team total for the Guardians. The full game team total is 3.5 minus 138. I wish they were the dog. The Reds team total is 3.5 at -112. Huh. And then going to Abbott's last few starts, just making sure I'm just not using an eye test here. Yeah, he's not made it through the 5th inning in his last 3 starts.
Yeah.
So
4-1, 3.2, and 4.
Yeah. So 12 innings in his last 3 starts with 10 earned runs allowed. Something's just not right there. And if the Reds are playing, with everything on the line, maybe they can come back and take care of things. But Billy Friedrich says, how many pitches does Bieber throw? I mean, if the books are going to have it at 17.5 -160 to the over, it means that he's got to be expected to throw a decent amount.
Yeah,
so
2/3.
I can understand the concern on backing the Guardians, but I'm going to back them. Oh, God, I guess I can't back them first 5. What am I talking about? Because they're favorites here. I have to take them on the first 5 -0.5. -131 here. First 5 -0.5 is +108. Huh. Okay, there's Dabby Cab in the house. I want the Guardians first 5. I've just got to decide whether I'm going to take the -0.5 or not. Okay, so Ragoo is on the over 8 -103. Stacks play today is Jose Ramirez over 1.5 bases at even money. And the Matty Ice gave us the Reds money line at +105. So we move on. Next up for us, 6:10 p.m. Eastern, the Tampa Bay Rays, 96 and 62, 43 and 34 on the road at the Boston Red Sox, 76 and 81, 39 and 41 at home. We're talking Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts, which means we have an appearance from the producer of this show and the star of Say Hey Plays of the day, a man with 100 nicknames because he's loved. That's why, because he's loved. Please welcome to the show, now making his home in San Antonio, Texas, Reverse Sweep Ramon. How are you?
There he is, Reverse Sweep.
Not doing great. I'm in the coldest stretch of my gambling career. It definitely coincides with Mike calling me Reverse Sweep Ramon. I got reverse swept again last night. I simply cannot stop getting reverse swept. It's quite appalling and shocking. So it sucks, but it is what it is at this point, and we're just looking forward to the playoffs.
Wow, I didn't know that Mike M put that poison on you, man.
He did. He put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. He really did. So that's 3 reverse sweeps in the last week and a half. It's been ugly. It's just been ugly. It's the worst gambling stretch of my my career, and has fallen straight into the gutter again, back into the gutter.
These are character building moments in your career, my man.
Yeah, Reverse Sweep Ramon will never go away now.
So if we call you Boofing Bouquet, do you think that will follow you?
I forgot what boofing is. I forgot what that is, honestly.
Okay. Well, we don't need to go into it. We don't know. But Slatsy has great news for you. Right?
The last time he was on the Jets, his ankle turned 90 degrees angle and he sucked. So no thanks. I mean, didn't I not say immediately when he was hurt, when Rogers got hurt on the stream that the season was over, that Zach Wilson's cancer? I mean, come on. With this, we've known this for years. It's appalling.
It is heartbreak. Heartbreak. I don't like hearing this because it took you such a hard work to get out of the hole that you were in. So let's get back to work here. Let's get back to work and let's turn this around. We got Trot Wham in the house. Great to see you, Wham Bam. Almost basketball season for Wham Bam. His time to rise. Rays Red Sox. Tyler Glasnow versus Brian Bayo. And Pimp Slaps, so much to dissect for a guy that just hopped on the stream. Yeah, he's heavy with emotion, and some people blame you, Mike. Some people blame. Do you blame Mike for all of this?
I'm gonna give Mike like 30% blame for what happened here. Like 30%, 70% on me, 30% on Mike for giving me reverse sweep Ramon and sending me to the shadow realm, apparently.
Right. Let's go into the weather here. 60 Fahrenheit, 7.7 miles per hour in, stays between 7.7 and 5.4. Not offensive weather around North America today. Let's go to Fenway and the expectations of Fenway. And we have minus 28% home runs, plus 13% doubles and triples, minus 5% overall runs. This total is sitting at 7.5. And it opened up at 8. It moved to 7.5 at 9:30 this morning. It opened up at 5:46 p.m. yesterday. Let's get the money line up for this one. And we're sitting with the Red Sox at plus 109. Opened up at plus 110, now at plus 109. The lineup that the Rays put out yesterday was, clearly letting go of the division. And yet they still put up a ton of runs. And
yeah, that was probably my worst loss since the Brewers loss. I was my most confident spot yesterday. The line moved all the way towards the Red Sox, 90% of the money on the Rays, tripled up on them, and the Red Sox said, thanks for coming out. We're going to continue tanking. Thanks.
That was shocking. The Red Sox still need one win, right, to get over their 76.5 win total that I would be stressing out about. But they got to get one, and they should get it here.
I don't know if they will, Jimmy. I don't know if they will. They play these Rays who obviously need to win all the games they can, and then guess who they play next? The Baltimore Orioles, who also need to win all those games.
Not really. There's only the number's 3. That's the elimination number, 3, and that's includes any loss for the Rays. We'll cut that down, and any win for the Orioles. 82% of the tickets, 73% of cash is on the Rays, and from a total side of things, 84% of tickets, 94% of cash is on the under. We saw that move to 7.5. There's been no move on the side. Tyler Glasnow, 3.68 ERA, 1.10 WHIP on the season. His last start, 5 1/3, allowed 4 earned runs and a 6-2 loss at home versus the Blue Jays. His last 3 starts have been bad. 15 1/3. He's allowed 17 hits, 14 earned runs in those 15 1/3. 3 homers, now 19 Ks and 8 walks. On the road, he's got a 4.17 ERA. Bayo coming off, getting lit up and smoked at Texas. 8 earned runs over 3 innings. Still, he's been good at home. 3.57 ERA, 259 opponents batting average. The Rays aren't ripping the leather off the ball. I mean, they're hitting 236, 700 OPS versus righties in September, while the Red Sox are 238, 693. Rays bullpen, 2.91 ERA. They're playing playoff baseball. Red Sox bullpen has been a disappointment, 4.96 ERA. Jose Bouquet, let's get you back on the winning side of things. Is this game interest you, or have the Red Sox pulled your beating heart out of your chest and taken a big sip of Tijuana tap water and gone to work on you?
That was very vivid. I don't know. I gotta pass this game, honestly. I think it's just I've gone back and forth with this Red Sox squad, and this is a cheap price for the Rays, who need to win this game. Obviously, like they're just in the thick of it, et cetera, et cetera. But maybe this will make Rays backers feel better. I like the Red Sox here. I don't know if I'm going to bet it. I need more time. It's minus 120, and all the money is on the Rays here, and the line has not moved at all. So it's just, I don't know. It's just a tough game for me. I think the Red Sox are honestly tanking a bit because of the draft lottery there is now in baseball. So I'm going Red Sox here, but I'm not making anything official.
Does it give you confidence to know that Nasty Nate says Red Sox smash?
It does. It gives me a lot of confidence, actually. So that's my guy, Nasty Nate.
Well, let's hear what Doc has to say about this one. Fenway Park, Glasnow versus Bayo, and possibly a good pitching matchup. Does Glasnow bounce back here?
I tell you what, Bayo looks like the better pitcher in my book right now. Their last 3 starts, both pitchers have faced the playoff teams, and Bayo's took 2 out of 3, where Glasnow not so much. Both have lost at last, but I think versus this lineup, I think Glass now has been pretty good, pretty tough against the Sox. So that's the look I have here. If you go back and look at the last start, I think he's kind of had a pretty high K percentage. And I looked at that today, and his number set at like 7.5 at like minus 145. So I don't want no part of that. And then I'm not happy about his form right now. But I think this is probably the spot where he could probably get right, getting ready to make that playoff run. And possibly, I don't think they catch the O's. I really don't. But I think they'll probably lose a few more games down the stretch, based on the numbers they've had. But this is Rays baseball. It's playoff baseball time. This is what they do well every friggin' year, guys. So, and the price is cheap enough too, And I want to thank the Red Sox for kicking the Yankees out of the cellar, by the way. Thanks for that, Jose. But we still got my sorry ass manager, so I'm not thrilled about that moving forward. We'll see what happens in the off season and the winter meetings. But today, take the fucking Rays.
Wow. Look at that. Take the fucking Rays. Let's take a look at the line history here for the best line we can get you for the Rays here. Minus 123 at Pinnacle. I think we might be able to beat that. Let's see what Heritage is offering, the minus 120. So we will go there. Minus 120 for the Tampa Bay Rays. Ragoo firing shots on the Rays. Minus 120. All right. Let's move on here. Jose, do we have any other spots where you will be joining us?
Come on, Jose.
I don't have anything right now, honestly. I'm a fucking blind fucking deer on the highway right now. Just try not to get run over by a fucking 18-wheeler. So tune in today. Last regular season shows of the year for Say Hey Plays. Dabby Cap joins us for the final time this regular season. It's actually a pretty girthy Wednesday card, which is kind of shocking. So, just tune in then. It'll be a lot of fun, I'm sure. Dabby Cap will bring out one or two plays that'll cash. And who knows what you'll get from me, but it'll be a whole lot of fun either way.
Wow, we need to get him back.
Good job, Jose.
I feel like we're losing the young man. I feel like we're losing him here. Now I know that baseball can really beat
the highs and lows of baseball, man. Look at him all year. He struggled to get that breakwater mark, and he got it.
He got there.
Fucking high. Now he's back down in his little lull here, but he'll get back at it. Snap out of it, Jose. Snap out of it.
And he could have a big playoffs. You could have a big playoffs here. 6:35 p.m. Eastern. Next up for us, Washington Nationals. 69-89, 35-42 on the road at the Baltimore Orioles, 98-59, 46-30 at home at Camden Yards, Baltimore, Maryland. What a game yesterday. 1-0. The Orioles have been playing playoff baseball all season long. They don't make mistakes on the base paths, or when they do, it's very rare. They don't make the errors seem to be few and far between. They have good at-bats, quality at-bats. You can trust their bullpen. There's so much to like in the Orioles. Now, the number to bet them on the futures market is too low. The 525 is so important to me on the division spot, but I'm just going to bet them, game to game. I think that will be my plan in the playoffs, to bet them game to game here. Patrick Corbin going up against Grayson Rodriguez. Grayson Rodriguez, I know that Bradish was beautiful yesterday, but Grayson Rodriguez is my favorite Baltimore Oriole pitcher. Let's get in. I love when the huge star potential pitcher goes down to the minors and he handles it the right way, says all the right things, pitches well, comes back into the show and shows everybody that he belongs. That shit I just love it. I love it. But they're huge favorites here against the Nats team that's been a great dog for 3 months. Sitting at Pinnacle right now at minus 250. They opened up at minus 237. We'll go to the total here and move over here to this total. God, sorry, I should have this all set up, and I still don't. Let's move over to the total here for Corbin and Rodriguez. We're sitting at 8. There are 7.5s on the board. And it's a 7.5 now at Pinnacle. A lot of 8s out there at minus 118, minus 120. This went from 8 to 7.5 back to 8 and is now back at 7.5. So we have a move to the under and a move to the Orioles. Let's take a look at the cash flow then for this spot. And we have 20% of the tickets on the under and 28% of the cash. Wow. I guess that is a shock with it still going back to 7.5. I guess that means that the public wants to expect Corbin to allow runs, or they're just looking simply at the earned run averages of the two pitchers and putting the pieces together there. 83% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the Baltimore Orioles. I guess that's expected. Let's take a look at the weather then for this spot. It is 64 Fahrenheit, 7.7 miles per hour in, stays between 7.7 and 6.8 miles per hour. Ballpark Pal, then what will they be doing with Camden here? Oriole Park minus 18% home runs, plus 2% doubles and triples, minus 2% runs. So Patrick Corbin is the problem. 9-6 loss at home versus the Braves in his last start. Didn't look good. 5 earned runs over 4 1/3. But he's been better on the road than he's been at home, and that was a home start. On the road, 6-5. I mean, he's a winning record. 4.83 ERA. 268 opponent's batting average. Grayson Rodriguez, I love. I know he's coming off the 5-2 loss to the Guardians, allowed the 2 earned runs. I think he allowed them in the 5th inning of that start. Oh, no, not quite. He was battling through that whole start. I guess he didn't have his stuff right away, but he was really battling through it. His numbers aren't very good at home, but he's a different pitcher. Nats versus righties, 246, 734 OPS. Orioles versus lefties, 281, 785 OPS. And they're coming off of the 1-0 game. Mike says that plus 222 is tempting. Take it away for us here, Doc. Nats.
The head scratcher is the total moving back the other way. I figured, with Corbin's numbers. And by the way, Corbin, if he loses this game today, he'll have, I think, the 3rd year in a row for the most losses in MLB on the L column. And the O's, they're still, it's all things ahead for the O's here. They want to keep that momentum going. They want to clinch, with their win and the Rays loss. They're hoping Boston takes them out and gets it over. They pop the bottles tonight, and it's a done deal. But not today, Boston. Not today, Baltimore, because the Rays are going to win. O's, I like the team total over here. I think they get to Corbin. I think the bats stay hot. It's too big of a number that I like to get involved with. What do you got on the run line with the O's today?
I'll grab it. Now, I was under the impression that the number was 3 still for the elimination. So they can't. 3? Yeah.
I thought if they win tonight, and I thought they clinch. But
I do not think that if that's the case, I would look differently at this game. So let's just find that out right now here. The regular season, because it's the elimination number is 3.
Is it 3? Okay, it's my bad. I'm sorry for that bad info.
No worries. No worries at all. Andre liking the over 8 in Baltimore. The bullpens are pitching well, but it's amazing that we have a total that's gone down to 7.5 and the first 5 to be at 4.5. I know that's telling us that that Corbin's vulnerable here, but it makes me. I guess they're just are they asking you to bet that first 5 under? Because I like betting unders with pitchers that I think are better than their numbers indicate. Now I don't know if Corbin's better, but I do. I'm certain that
we know what Corbin is. There's no question.
Minus 1.5 is minus 113 at Pinnacle.
Oh, his numbers they're not. I mean, they're north of 4. Obviously, facing the O's. I mean, he's had. I wouldn't call it success. He's like 1-4 in his last 8 versus the O's, but he's close to 5 on the ERA number. I'm looking at a 4.5 with the O's on the team total here. That kind of put me off. I thought full game over, but I said, you know what? Let's take what I know is going to happen. I know they're going to score runs on Corbin, and let's bet the O's to get over 4 here, to 5 at least. So whatever the best number you get me, I'm seeing some 115s, 120s.
Minus 113. Minus 113 here.
115?
13.
Oh, 113? Yeah. That's good. I'll take the 4.5 at 115 or 113.
You got it. And there's our guy Sharpie in the house. Beautiful stuff from Gifted Cartel. I was hoping this is great. So since returning 4-2 with a 2.66 ERA in 12 starts. I love it. I love it. I wonder if we can get under this 4.5. The problem is that 1-0 game yesterday. You
got to trust Corbin to make that happen.
I do, and he hurts me more than he helps me. But looking at this total here, 80% of the tickets are on the over, and every time it goes up to 8, it drops to 7.5. I think that's telling. I think that's telling. All right, Dad Fence says Grayson is awesome, but he still likes the over in this game. I'm gonna look at this under 4.5. I'm not sure if I get to the window, but I do find it appealing at this point. Ragoo is on the Orioles team total over 4.5 at -113. We move on. Kansas City Royals at Detroit Tigers, Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. These Royals 54-103, 23-56 on the road. At the Tigers 74-83, 33-43 at home. So let's break this one down because we have Jonathan Bolin making his first career start in the major leagues. Let's discuss Jonathan Bolin. About to turn 27. This has not been a brisk road. He was drafted in 2018 in the second round, and here he is. He was in Double-A Northwest Arkansas. He was bad. 1-5 with a 7.71 ERA, 1.63 WHIP. He went up to Omaha, was 6-6, but still a 5.24 ERA and a 1.55 WHIP. A lot of this is about character. What is your character? And I don't know what Jonathan Bolin is like. I can't make a statement on that, but I know what it takes to not. To grind your way up. I mean, there's different ways of looking at it. One thing that you've talked about in the past, capping with you, Ragoo, is the difference of when do you back these pitchers, the high draft picks that are brought up from the minors, and it's not at the end of the year. And do you want to touch on that? Because you've talked about it on previous shows, and I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Normally you're looking at, you're looking at coming up through camps and early on the season, but like you said, late in the year, you're looking at just basically filler holes and then looking forward towards next year. But either way, you want to look at a positive vibe for that, for that to happen. But at one point in the season, it makes a big difference. At one point, it doesn't. And right now, is really not. It's not a key factor. I mean, it hasn't been for the Tigers for a while, but normally, when you're scouting these kids coming up, you go back and you look at their minors, the Double-A, like the big jumps, like Double-A up. I know Triple-A's, they send them back down, but I like taking kids when they're coming up from Double-A and they're making that big jump, and in that regard. But this is probably not a spot I'm gonna be looking to back Bolin, even though he is a nice prospect for the Tigers. This is not the time to really get involved with a prospect coming up to the bigs.
I agree, but listen to our guy Sharpie. He says the time to fade Screwball has come, and this Screwball is lights out right now. But he says
he's been killing it like 4 in a row.
Inside the division has been an issue, especially these Royals. The batter versus hitter is insane on some of these guys. 10 starts with a 5.5 ERA. Gifted Cartel backing it up, saying Kansas City has been Screwball's biggest problem in his young career. In 10 appearances, 8 starts, he's 1-7 with a 5.51 ERA versus the Royals. Yeah. Wow, that's great stuff from you guys. Because he's coming off the 7-3 win at the A's, 7 innings, 2 hits, 10 Ks, 1 walk. People were saying, should you really take him first 5 minus a half at this number? In the best number I got on that Friday was first 5 minus a half at -122, and I had to put that in at Pinnacle because I think that Bet365 was like -135 or something like that. But he got the job done. And at home, he's got a 1.53 ERA. He's allowed just 2 homers and 35 in the third with a 175 opponent's batting average. But the Royals are smashing lefties right now. And if you're telling me that this huge favorite has an Achilles and that the issue is the Kansas City Royals, then I can easily stay off because the Tigers aren't really hitting. 228, 642 OPS versus righties, Royals bullpen 4.56 ERA. Tigers bullpen 4.12 ERA. Reclaim James says the Tigers are minus 200 is laughable. Period.
Yeah. I mean, what about an overlook here with the AAA prospect coming up? Because if you look at his AAA numbers, they're not impressive at all.
Not at all. There's a reason why he has not come up. No, I agree with that.
If you think you want him back Kansas City, I mean, like you say, it is a high price for Tarek here, but at the same time, maybe I would if you want to go against Tarek and you think there's going to be runs scored, then you got to take the dog here. But that number seems awful low too. I know it's a lot of recency bias on Scoobo, what he's done his last 4 here, so maybe an overlook too would be in play, I would think.
There's been an 8-cent move to the under, and on the money line, there had been no move at Pinnacle. There has been a slight move. No, there's been a move now. Now we see it from minus 198 to minus 206, so 8 cents of movement. Let's get over to the cash flow and see what they're telling us here for this Tiger spot. And not a lot of info. 3,000 tickets in. 67% of the tickets are on the under and no cash flow. 81% of tickets, 88% of cash on the Tigers. Well, this has been great information, and I'm comfortable to stay off of this spot.
Me too. Don't forget Cabrera's last home stand too, right? I mean, this is going to be it for him.
Oh, good point. All right, let's move on. 6:40 p.m. Eastern. Pittsburgh Pirates 74-83, 36-43 on the road at the Philadelphia Phillies 88-69, 48-31 at home at Citizens Bank Park, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Johan Oviedo has been very good to me. Not a lot of pitchers have this year, but he has against Ranger Suarez. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We cashed the first 5 under on Friday with Oviedo, and the game soared over as soon as we cashed that first 5 under. From a line history standpoint, we have the the Phillies opening up at minus 119, and they're now minus 133. I have Mark's review says Jimmy Orioles' magic number is 2, not 3. So, wow. So MLB has it wrong. They've got the 3 listed on their website. Wow. It says because the Orioles have the tiebreaker. Surprised that MLB would, you expect them to at least have the right information. Wow. So you are right. Mark's review has your back on that one. Interesting. Pirates, Phillies, and I see Jose about to jump back on. And I like it. Look at
there you go.
There he is. Now he still seems nonplussed. But Andre says Phillies just popped bottles all night equals fade. I'm pretty pleased with my futures action on the Phillies. Seeing them win 6 straight here late in the season, I'm pretty excited about it. They're the only team I have pennant and future and World Series futures on. And Jose in business with us. So we have Oviedo and Suarez, and we have Pimp Slap saying, I'm not a big subscriber to fading the team that just clinched. It has lost almost every time if you fade the clincher, but I would not take the Phillies tonight. Says they got after it last night. Dan Bonner says Pirates easy. Nice to see Dan Bonner in. He says love their team total over 3.5. Phillies just clinched and party hard last night. Last year after clinching, the Phillies lost the next game 10-0. And the odds bunch says Sharpie says haven't we learned a long time ago not to trust the MLB app for numbers? We have. You're right. We left that but still to have 3 there as the elimination number when I've got the plus 525 sitting here and to know that that's not correct is it is a little infuriating that I would be under this idea that elimination number 3 right there on the goddamn website. Oviedo versus Suarez. So we talked about this line history. We haven't talked about the total. The total opened up at 7.5 and it's now at 8. It got back to 7.5 at 11:05 this morning and then back up to 8. Oviedo, 8-6 win of the Cubs, no runs over 6 innings, 4.07 ERA on the road. I think he's a good pitcher. Suarez has struggled for some reason at home, 4.99 ERA, 242 opponents batting average. Pirates versus lefties, 265, 739 OPS. Phillies versus righties, 238, 760. But there's an expectation here that this line will move as soon as the Phillies put out a lineup that's devoid of their big players. 71% of the tickets and 89% of the cash is on the Pittsburgh Pirates. And from a total perspective, 90% of the tickets and 92% of cash is on that under. Jose, it is nice to see you back in action. What's your plan here?
I'm gonna fade the clinching team. Just what I'll do here, Mike. I know. I think one has cash, Mike, and I'm pretty sure I've cashed on one of them this year. I didn't cash on the Orioles or someone else doing it. I
I
forget.
remember someone got lit up, didn't they? God,
Yeah, I cashed on one of them, and then I bet on the against the Orioles one day, I believe, and then they did it, and they super impressed me, I believe. I think it was the oh no, it was betting on the Orioles against the Astros. So there we go. That's what I'm remembering now. It was a high scoring game. But yeah, I'm just gonna bet the Pirates here. Johan's been okay this year. Ranger up and down, but I'm expecting them to start off slow. I'll bet them first 5 here. The same thing kind of happened with the Rangers after that sweep of the Mariners. That was like they've kind of done it parade for them. I bet Angels first 5 in full game. They cashed first 5 for me, and then the Angels bullpen came to haunt me there at the end. So I'm just sticking the first 5 here. A slow start for the Phillies.
Yeah, and Oddsbunch says Phillies team total under in this spot. Take out what the Pirates bats will do. Is I ran the same bet when Twins just clinched versus the Angels, yet the Angels did win that game. Remember, we talked about that on the show. We talked about it, and Joe Yurkovich bet it. We said Friday, take the Twins. Saturday, take the Angels. And Joe Yurkovich did that as a 3-1 parlay here. Rocco Rogers says the Pirates were plus 185 last night, and the line moved big already. Now, I mean, it depends, where you look, and I imagine that would have been a bet online with limits at plus 185, but that's a very fair statement. So Eric Jones looking at the over 7.5. The problem with that Phillies team total under is that the total is so low. That's the only problem, but I like it. Like, I like where your head's at because that was a wild 1-0 game that we witnessed. But here, let's just see what that team total would be. It's Phillies team total under 3.5 at plus 118. Which I imagine that maybe you'll get a better line at Bet365. Well, I'll check right now. While I'm checking, let's hear what Big Ragoo has to say about this spot. Phillies after clinching Suarez Oviedo. Take it away.
Yeah, I like what Oviedo's accomplished, of late especially. And the fact that, like you guys are talking about with the clincher, I'm not going to call it a hangover, but just basically, just they got there, they're in now. They're going to, I'm not going to say coast it because there's no way the team like the Phillies is going to back into the playoffs and by any stretch of the imagination. So they're going to be coming in with their guns loaded, but I think it is going to be a slower start. Suarez, even though he's played the Pirates a few times over the years, past 3-4 years, he hasn't really had that quality win. He hasn't logged it. He's got 2 wins over like the last 4 years, I want to say. No L's registered, so maybe today's the day he catches an L. Maybe he exits the game early on. So I think it's going to be a tougher pitching duel than I still think the offense is going to be on the lull here. I really do. I think both pitchers are going to be up to it early on here, and I kind of lean the first 5 under in this spot. I think bats will be a little quieter today, and I kind of like the Pirates, but I want a bigger price on the Pirates here. I really do for what we're getting. But that's going to put me off there. I don't think the value is there with the Pirates. I think the markets kind of indicate that, but I like the first 5 under here.
First 5 under. So let's lock everything in for both of you guys. So Ragoo on the first 5 under. Jose, what are you making official?
Pirates first 5.
And what did you get?
Plus 118.
And Doc is on the first 5 under. Let's get over to that one. Yeah, I would like to be involved here. It just feels like the perfect spot for the Phillies to let go on this winning streak. So I'd like to be involved here. I don't find any fear. I don't, you guys being uncomfortable backing the Pirates. I mean, they've been good this year, and they watch the team celebrate right in front of them. I think that they'll want to answer back here.
Yeah, the Bailey Fowler thing was kind of funny and sad at the same time. Just sitting there, just staring at his former teammates fucking celebrate like Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, that's never easy, man. Let's take a look at what the first 5 is here, because you have options, Doc, but not really. I guess the first 5 under 4.5 is expensive. But you'll have the first 5 under 4 is at plus money.
Yeah, that's what we're going to shoot for. The 4
All right,
run.
let's get that for you. So we have a plus 103 here. Is anyone hanging a plus 105? And no. So the plus 103 is the best we can get for that. Oh, no. Heritage plus 105. Perfect. Okay. So first 5 under 4 for Ragoo. First 5 under 4.
And I'm going to join you guys on the Pirates full game.
Yeah, I like that.
I think, like you say, the escape route is in play. Suarez has not lost to these guys yet, and like you say, coming off of the win, I think both pitchers will pitch well early, but I think the Pirates get them late. But hopefully, for Jose's sake, they go up like 2-0 or 2-1, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Doc, we know what's happening here. Philly's going to win this game or win the first 5 3-0. Pirates win 4-3. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be fucking hilarious.
Plus 122 is the best we can get you. Plus 1. Oh, bet line plus 124. Okay. I'm going to get involved too. I'm going to get involved too on the Pirates. Going to get involved too. Okay, let's roll. Eric Jones says, "Oh no, Pittsburgh in a 2-10 straight up spot," but he says, "Good luck though." We'll see how it all bangs out. But the Pirates are hitting with a really nice number against lefties, a 265 with 739 OPS. Noli Nose says that Suarez likes to party hard. Okay, let's roll off. Oh, but Nutflush says, just my opinion, there's no more important thing at the time than looking at the roster. The key is motivation. If it's rookies trying to prove, that's one thing. If it's the vets with vacation, stay off. And Pimp Slap says, yes, we have our friend Jose's in a dark place right now. We got to bring him out of it. We got to bring him out of it.
It's because of that Mike's looking around like, who's the asshole that did this? Who's the asshole that did this? God damn you, Mike.
Okay, let's go. Don't give other people that kind of power, Jose. All right, let's roll on here. Eric Jones is on the over in that spot.
Billy,
and let's roll. Okay.
I wonder how far Billy went back to get that information for the 2-10.
Yeah, I know that doesn't. This is a weird spot with the clincher, so I'm not. Okay, let's go. 7:07 p.m. Eastern. Next up, the New York Yankees at Toronto Blue Jays. My God, the vitriol on Romano up here is like too much, and it started before he came in. There was all these people on social media saying, "Don't bring in Romano, don't bring in Romano." I mean, this guy was an all-star this year. It's tough to watch people expect greatness from these closers. I mean, you had the greatest closer of all time on your Yankees, and we watched him blow saves. I mean, I don't know. It's the negativity towards Romano is unbelievable up here. I mean, I'm telling you, unbelievable. Crystal Craig says Romano sucks in non-save situations. I just, maybe the fact that he's a Canadian kid and all this stuff. I like him, and I nonstop hate is coming from him from everywhere, and it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch. Now, first off, I don't have futures on the Jays for the first time in 8 or 9 years, so I don't really have a dog in the fight. Maybe that makes it easier for me to watch him blow these saves. Let's go. Rogers Center in Toronto, Ontario. Great to have Crystal Craig in the chat. She watches his team every inning of the season. So we're looking forward to hear what she has to say. Garrett Cole versus Jose Barrios. There's a big thought here that Garrett Cole is just going to shut these Jays down. Let's take a look at the line situation here and also the weather. It's going to be beautiful. It's cloudy right now today, but it's going to be beautiful over the next little while. I imagine that the roof will be open for all these home games at the end of the year, something that's not usual for here. And we talk about how, the ball really does soar with the roof open, doesn't with the roof closed. This total is sitting at 7, which is where it opened, but it opened with the over at minus 118. That over is now minus 108. So we've had a 10-cent move towards the under. And from a money line standpoint here, we have Pinnacle. I'm going to make sure I'm not on first 5. Okay, thank you. Let's see what we have. We have sitting here at minus 117. The Jays open up at minus 104. That's a big move to the Jays, a surprising move, a 13-cent move to these Jays. Quinnimus says, can't trust the Jays this year. I'm sorry. with the negativity towards the Jays, I think they're going to be a pretty good betting option if they make it in. I'm telling you. But the Jays have been, overvalued in the betting market all year. So maybe that's a mistake thinking of it. But let's take a look at the cash flow then for this Jays Yankees spot. 54% of the tickets, 32% of the cash on the under. So bigger bets are coming in on the over, but the market's moving towards the under. From a money line standpoint here, 53% of the tickets on the Yankees, 50% cash on the Yankees. So why is this move towards the Jays? Crystal Craig says, the fan in me hopes Jays get the Cole, but the sports bettor in me leans Yankees. They did nothing off Cole in their last outing. You're right. He did shut them down. So I expect the roof to be open here in Toronto this evening. So it's 63 Fahrenheit, 17.1 miles per hour right to left. So maybe it won't. I think if it's over 15, they'll close it. So maybe I take that back. That would really help the under if that roof is closed. Now it's going to be jammed. I mean, we're selling out our weeknight games. We've been selling them out all year. And now the Yankees are in town. Wow. So Garrett Cole, last start, 5-3 win at home versus the Jays, 8 innings, 1 earned run, 9 Ks, no walks. On the road this year, 2.58 ERA, 2.15 opponents batting average. Even better on the road than he's been at home. Barrios, 3.58 ERA. He's coming off that game here against Garrett Cole. He didn't look very good. 4 runs over 5 2/3. I expect him to be better here. Yankees versus righties, just 214, 680 OPS in September. Blue Jays versus righties, 236, 745. Yankees bullpen 3.93 ERA, and the Jays bullpen 4.75 ERA. Here we go, Doc. Yankees, Jays, Rogers Center. Take it away.
Yeah, this is the game that should have been for the Yanks, going into the playoffs. But don't discount Garrett Cole, what he's accomplished this season. He's definitely top rate for the Cy Young Award here, and I know he had a pretty good outing last out against these the Jays, and the Jays, they're trying to do everything they can to get that spot to get in there. You think they're going to make it in? You think? What's your opinion of the Jays making it in? This is going to be
yes. I think the Jays are going to. I mean, I don't see really, honestly, and I know that everyone's up here doesn't agree, but how do they not make it in? Yeah. Because the Rays are going to let go in that final series. They're all games at home, and we have the Rangers and the Mariners and the Astros playing against each other. So, yes, they're in. But
yeah, they should beat each other up the other side.
What is I agree. Let's just take a quick look and see what I'm going to look it up while you're talking. I'll look at the futures to make it in the playoffs. I imagine that they'll be a huge favorite to make the playoffs. The Jays right now, the Jays are minus 4,000 to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think the Yankees are going to play a spoiler role in this game, anyways. But I just want to find a way to bet on Cole, and Barrios has been great this year, to what he did the prior year, and he come back. I know his record is like 500 or whatever it is, but he's had a good year. I don't care if he's got 11 losses or not. He's still a viable pitcher. He's pitched well in tough games, and every game means a lot to the Jays going forward here, and I know the betting markets are going to reflect that, but I think Cole is still going to be up to the task here too. Normally I would be all over a first 5 under in this spot, which I should be without question. And I think I will be, but I wanted to back Cole in some form or fashion, but I'm looking at this number. They're hanging this plus 140 number in front of me at DraftKings for 18.5 outs for Cole. So I need 7 solid innings. Do I get it from him, or does he get touched up by the Jays? And he's done in like 4 or 5 innings. But if he gets past 5, I think he gets 7. So I'm going to gamble on Cole a little bit here, and I'm going to gamble on the first 5 under too. So I think Cole records the 18.5 outs. I think we get 7 solid out of Cole here, and I think the game stays under in the first 5 too. So I'm not afraid of that. I know I'm kind of chalky with the first 5s and the unders today, but I think Barrios is up to the task, and I think definitely Cole's up to the task here. So I think we see a gem today out of both these guys. I think we see a lower scoring game, and I think I'm going to take Cole on the plus 140 side. I'm trying to chase some black too, by the way. We talked about that off camera, but if we get there, we'll post it. If we don't, guess what? This will be my first losing season with betting with the bag.
Well, no, it's not the case because we have playoffs here.
Oh, that's true, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So no, your opportunity to get into the black here is still wide open here. So that's not the case. Cole over 18.5 outs. I like the first 5 under as well. And liking it because we can trust Cole to pitch well. And I think Barrios bounces back here at home where he's been so good.
I think so too.
So I like where you're at with the first half under. So that first half under 3.5 is minus 107. 3.5 minus 107 here. And then we'll go to see if I can get you the player prop 4 outs. I don't know if we can get it here. They don't usually give
I'll put it this way. If the first 5 unders is intact, that plus 140 is very live.
This is pretty scary here. So you have Sharpie say, I don't know if they let him go today. They just want a quality start to get the Cy Young. Do you know what his odds are for over 18.5 outs at Pinnacle? Plus 143.
Yeah.
The market's saying that he's not going to go deep in this.
I know it. And I'm saying he is.
I love it. Plus 143 is
market. I know the market. I follow it sometimes, but sometimes you gotta push back just a little bit. But yeah, I agree. I agree with what Sharpie's saying too. I get it. But I'm just saying if the first 5 is in play, he's gonna get the 18.5 outs. If the first 5 cashes, he's getting the 18.5.
So we have Ragoo on Cole over 18.5 outs at plus 123. That's just at Pinnacle. I don't know if anybody else can find a better line for that. Let me know if you can.
Yeah, that's good.
Let me go.
143 is good.
That's a pretty amazing number on the Jays to make the playoffs. Minus 4,000. Wow. So the Astros are minus 140, the Mariners minus 125, and the Jays and Rangers minus 4,000. Wow. The Cubs are plus 130 to make the playoffs. The Marlins minus 150. So the Marlins are expected to usurp that Cubs spot. It's wild, wild stuff. Marco says, O's taking the East tonight. Take the under with Boston. I like it. And so the Orioles sitting here up against Patrick Corbin and know they can win the division and party tonight. God, I can't believe the Sharpie's right. The MLB.com is a site that will let you down with their stats.
So was I right about that then?
Yeah, you were absolutely right. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, they're wrong. The site's wrong. I like this first 5 under as well. Under 3.5. And I like the first 5 under in that Washington-Baltimore game as well. Jay Brown saying that the DraftKings is plus 140 for Garrett Cole over 18.5 outs. Equanimous said, how do you feel about this Jays team right now? Look, I don't have any futures on them, so I don't really like them. But if they're going to be disrespected and be a dog come playoff time, then I will start finding, and they will appeal to me. Gaussman is the second best pitcher behind Cole in the American League, with Shohei not in the line out there, So Gaussman is money in the bank. And I would expect that Vladdy and Bichette should be very comfortable in the most important spots. Now, I've said a lot of negative stuff, just not seeing exactly what I want to see body language wise and kind of having fun when the team loses. But that doesn't mean they're not able to step up in the most, pressure filled situations. So, but if as a favorite, I don't want anything to do with them. So, we'll have to see sort of where the market lays them if they get in, when they get in. First 5 under 3.5 for me in Yankees, Blue Jays. And the line with Cole and the 18 outs and the market moving towards the Jays right now, tells me that the Jays are live. I wonder if this is a perfect live betting situation, knowing that Cole will be out of the lineup. Now, the Yankees bullpen has been good, so we'll see. But I'll be very interested in this baseball game. All right, let's roll on. Don't forget, we have NCAA football best bets coming up. So let's get through these last 2 baseball games. I can't wait to hear Ragoo's 3 best bets, and mine are ready to go. Again, I went 3-2-1 on sides that I gave out here on the show last week. Cubs, Braves, Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. Cubs 82-75, 37-39 on the road at the Braves, 101-56, 49-27 at home. We're at Truist Park in Hotlanta. Let's get to the weather in Atlanta first and foremost. We have 77 Fahrenheit, 7.3 miles per hour left to right, dies down to 6.1 miles per hour. Let's get into the ballpark pal expectation here of God, how far back am I? Jesus, ballpark pal. We have the Hot Atlanta Truist minus 9% home runs, minus 11% doubles and triples, minus 6% runs. So clearly the issue here with the Cubs being plus money to make the playoffs is the series against the Braves. The Braves aren't really trying, and they have Darius Vines out there. I mean, what is everybody's expectation of Darius Vines? We've spoke about him already on this show. A 7th round pick out of a Cal State Bakersfield, and that was back in 2019. He is 25 years old, out of Oxnard, California, and he was had injuries is the reason why he hasn't pitched a lot so far this year. But he looked really good in Gwinnett. A 1.223 ERA, or sorry, WHIP, and an ERA of 2.36. He's a good pitcher. This guy is a good pitcher. If you go back to 2022 in Gwinnett, he was really good there. Now, he spent most of the time in Double-A Mississippi in 2022, but he's a good pitcher. Now, will that translate to the show? I mean, that's a completely different story. 3 earned runs and over 3 1/3 and 9-6 win at the Nats, but if when they were going through all their injury problems with the pitching staff in the beginning of the year, if Darius Vines was healthy, he would have been up here. Going up against Jamison Taillon, who looked very good in a 6-0 win, at home versus the Rockies in his last start. Cubs versus righties, 256, 765 in September. Braves versus righties, 279, 865 in September. And the Braves bullpen has been scuffling a bit with these games not very important. Deacon Mike says Taillon's only given up 3 runs his last 3 starts, but that will all change tonight. So Deacon Mike not feeling good about Taillon in this spot. Gift of Cartel says Taillon over his past 3 appearances, 1-1 with a 1.59 ERA in his last start. He looked very good, 6 scoreless. Billy Friedrich agreeing that Taillon going to get touched tonight and not in a good way. So let's just see exactly what we're dealing with here in Braves Cubs. These Braves and Darius Vines sitting at minus 152. That's exactly where they opened. And from a total perspective, we have the Braves at a 9. Interesting. Maybe this is weather related, but this opened up at 10.5. And this came out at 2:39 in the morning at 10.5. So we have a huge 1.5 move to the under. That's a big move to the under. Let's see if the cash correlates with all of that. And we have 69% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on the Cubs. Line's not moving towards them. 20% of tickets, 60% cash on the under. Line's moving drastically over there. Good God, this is pretty wild. Take it away for us here, Doc. Cubbies, Braves.
Yeah, looking at the Vines kid, right? His first start back in August, and mostly he's got 4 appearances. And like you said, he's done pretty well. Short work, 2 innings. A little relief action here, 3 innings, 1 earned run. So, and you think that the Braves are going to tee off on Taillon, huh? That's what the look is here. But
that's the thought in the chat from.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just saying. I heard Deacon Mike saying that they're going to get touched up. I tend to agree there. The Braves are still going to be the Braves. I don't care. They still got the big bats in a lineup. And then how about the fucking Cubs yesterday? With Suzuki squandering that out there, costing them 6 runs, blowing that late lead. So every game's important for the Cubs. We know the Braves are going to be like an autopilot. When I say autopilot, they don't have a whole lot to look in the rear view mirror to worry about to get caught on anything. So they're still going to go out there. They're going to play Braves baseball. They're just going to tune up for the playoffs more or less. So the Braves, everything's on the line for the Cubs. Nothing's on the line for the Braves. So. Does that mean the Cubs are going to win? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, I mean, it is a little bit of a price here too. We're catching for this kid, trying to make his second start. But I think he'll be up to the task. I like what he does early. I think the Braves are going to kind of catch him early on. I'm not afraid to lay the Braves are a half a run here, first 5. So I don't want to lay the bigger price with the Rook. But then again, I trust the Braves bats enough, and I trust him early on to kind of keep things intact along with the Braves bat. So put me on the Braves first 5 minus a half run.
Locked in. Braves first 5 minus a half. Deacon Mike going to be moving on this over. Scott G says Cubs team total over 3.5. Talking about the Braves clinching the number 1
I've seen
spot.
it. I've seen that. It's juiced pretty high, the 3.5. I see a lot of 4.5s, 4s, 4.5s.
There's our guy Razor Sharp Picks in the house. Great to see you, Razor. Hope you're having a great time over at Disney World. My guy.
Still down at Disney?
I think so. I mean,
no shit.
I hope he is. I hope he's maybe he just got back, but I hope he's doing it up there, down there. Cubbies, Braves. Let's lock you in for this first 5 -1/2, and this is, I think, going to be a stay off spot. If I keep my card pretty clean here, there's a few spots that I like, and I'm so locked in on football right now. I just can't stop thinking about every waking second. And then, of course, the preparation for NHL. So we have Cubbies, Braves, first 5 -1/2, and you are getting -110. I think we could beat that if I just go to Pinnacle quickly here. Pinnacle first 5 on the Braves, backing Darius Vines. I kind of like you expecting him to be up to this challenge, and the line's not moving towards the Cubs.
Yeah,
despite
I think he's got enough work in him to kind of at least
-106.
106.
First 5 -1/2.
Yeah.
-106. All right, let's roll on. Next up for us, 7:40 p.m. Eastern, Oakland Athletics 48-109, 22-54 on the road at Minnesota Twins 84-73, 46-33 at home. We're at Target Field in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have the 21-year-old Joey Estes on the hill. He did not look good in that 6-3 loss at home. That was his first career start. 21 years old, and the A's are bringing him up. He's about to turn 22, but 4 2/3, 6 runs, 5 of which were earned, and he allowed 3 jacks. And here he is again. This is a 16th round pick. Now, he was out of high school, Lancaster, California, but not a highly thought of draft. But he has looked good. He was in AA Midland this year. He went 6-6 with 3.28 ERA, 1.10 WHIP. Then he went up to Las Vegas, Pacific Coast League. He was 3-0 there with a 5.23 ERA. And I know some of you might think 5.23 ERA is high, but not in Vegas, not in the Pacific Coast League. So he was good. 1.35 WHIP, not awful there. And then he's now in the show, probably over his head. Sharpie says, be careful backing Pablo today, as they don't have his outs or earned run available, which is a telling sign he's on the pitch count today, as this game is just a get ready for the playoff spot for Lopez. I agree. Yeah. I think that's well put. Well put.
That's exactly right.
And then this Twins bullpen is starting to pitch better. This Twins bullpen is starting to pitch, playoff type baseball. 3.46 ERA in September. Lopez last start was a quality start, 3 earned runs over 6 innings at home versus the Angels. He's got a 4.12 ERA at home. He hasn't been great at home, but Twins are raking right now 243, 792 OPS versus righties, while the A's are 237, 714 OPS. And, it's not a time where you're going to bring out your best arms in the bullpen either. So as we've been talking about this, I think the over becomes more and more appealing. Let's talk about the weather and see what it is over at Target. We have 66 Fahrenheit, 6.1 miles per hour, index down to 5.3. Then Target is not bad. Now it's minus 14% homers, but plus 10% doubles and triples. And even, which is even, remember, is the third highest expected offensive output compared to the mean in any ballpark in America today, or North America, I should say. So let's go over to the cash flow. 52% of tickets, 55% cash on the under, and 96% tickets, 93% cash on the Twins. I mean, who in their right mind would, want a big favorite here with nothing to play for? Who cares that Estes is on the mound? We go to the full game line history here for Minnesota. It's sitting at minus 272. And it opened at minus 245, so a huge move towards them, which is, a surprise to me. And from a total standpoint, we're sitting at a 7.5. I guess I probably shouldn't get in the way of this line move. I mean, it's dropped a full run, 8.5 down to 7.5. That's hard to figure out. Take it away for us here, Doc. A's, Twinkies, Target Field.
Yeah, there's some Vegas. I call them Vegas head fakes going out here with this game for sure, man. I don't get it. I mean, they're probably expecting just Lopez, like I say, like Sharpie says, a tune-up game for him here for sure. I wouldn't go to the bank with the big number, laying that kind of money. Also, it could be a little bit of a trouble spot. But then again, the A's are one of these teams, like, they like to jump up and bite you every now and then. And with Estes, his his little bit of work that he has. Trying to establish himself late in the season. I really don't see that. The only look I can come up with here, with all the question marks, would maybe a team total for the Twinkies here against Estes. Going long, full game for over the 4.5 runs possibly. But other than that, I'm not going to get involved. I'll probably pass totally on this one here. So it looks like a trouble spot game, no matter how you approach it.
Yeah, this is not appealing to me. And Billy Friedrich, I don't know how I missed this comment, but he's right. The Braves have not clinched home field over the Dodgers. They've not done that yet. So that's
that's important.
It is. But the Braves still have something to play for at this point because Dodgers sitting with 97 wins over 157, so they can still get to 102 wins.
Yeah, I cashed a 96.5 with that 97 victory. So
yeah, no, that was
one of my many celebrations.
That was beautiful. Let's move on. 7:40 p.m. Eastern. St. Louis Cardinals 69-88, 36-43 on the road at the Brew Crew. 88-68. 20 games over 500. These Brewers 45-31 at home. American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Why isn't Craig Counsell talked about more for the job that he does year in and year out for the Brewers? We have two lefties on the hill. Wade Miley shoved at the Cardinals last start. When I was wondering if what exactly was wrong with him, he looked very, very good. 6 innings, doesn't allow a run, 7 Ks and 2 walks. That market was moving heavily towards the Cardinals in that spot, and I thought he was vulnerable. He was not. Zach Thompson on the other side, highly thought of prospect, and he has pitched better. He's been pitching better. Get off of this Chicago hourly weather here. Last start, 4 runs over 5 innings against these Brewers, but he has been pitching better. He had a rough start to his career, and Miley's rolling right now, and the Cards aren't hitting lefties at all. 221, 618 OPS, and the Brewers are still hitting 267, 62 OPS. Cards bullpen 3.86 ERA in September, while the Brewers 2.12 playoff ready bullpen. Let's take a look at the line history here for the Brew Crew. It is the total has jumped up to 8.5. This opened at 8. It didn't move to 8.5 till 9:37 this morning. And then from a side money line perspective, we have the Wade Miley and the Brewers sitting at -130. They opened up at -135, so a slight move back towards the Cardinals, which is a bit of a surprise. We'll see if the cash flow warrants any of that. 61% of the tickets, 58% of cash on the Brewers. And then from a total perspective, 27% of tickets, 63% cash on the over. Looks like sharp money on this over. Take it away for us here, Doc. Cardinals, Brewers.
Yeah, I get the overlook on this spot here. Miley's a nice pitcher. He's got some good, he's got some quality wins. His ERA is pretty decent. He doesn't strike out a lot, so I guess he's generating a lot of soft contact. But then again, I do lean towards the over here a little bit. The Card season, it's been one of those type of years for the Cards where, they're going to need a big reset for next year. And the Brewers, they finally, got over the hump. And I meant to say this about the Twins, not to jump back on that game, but what the Twins accomplished last year is kind of what the Brewers did this year. I mean, this year, what the Twins did, where the Brewers are always trying to get over the hump, they finally did. But let's see if they can win in the postseason. Let's see if they do that. And congrats to the Twins, too. I know right before the break, they were in like negative differential. They were like plus 110 runs. So look, I think they're swinging decent bats right now. The Twins are. So keep that in mind. That's why I had that look on that total. But Miley in this game here, yeah. I mean, I just figure out a way to play this game. This is another pass for me. I don't think we're going to see Wainwright. I think he's done for the year, too. That was another thing. I was kind of wanting to see Adam throw one more game before he retired, but he's off and riding to the sunset. But Miley, nice look on him. Maybe the only look I'd come up here is maybe a little run line look for the Brew Crew here against the Cards, but I'm going to pass on this one.
Zach, I'm surprised. Now, I know that Zach Thompson, 25-year-old first-round pick. I mean, he's expected to have more in the bag of tricks coming off that 8-2 loss at home versus the Brewers, now going into Milwaukee. But I'm surprised the market isn't moving towards Miley after Miley's last start. And
yeah, that's true.
I'm surprised. And because it's not, I guess I'll just stay off of it. I've got some spots that I'll be attacking, so we can leave Cardinals Brewers off. But, it does feel like unless this game is sleepy, it does feel like an over spot. I'm gonna look a little bit more at that over here. before, or I guess after the show, I'll get my action. So I have some interest in the over in Cardinals Brewers. Let's move on. 8:40 p.m. Eastern. The Dodgers now at 97 wins, cashing their season win total over 37 games over 500 with all the injuries they faced on their pitching staff. It's very, very impressive. 44-32 on the road. Colorado Rockies 57-100, 35-41 at home. Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. I can't imagine a better 1-2 in any lineup out there. I can't think of a better 1-2 lineup than Betts and Freeman. If anybody can think of a better 1-2 offensively, I'm talking, and defensively, with Mookie Betts playing all over the field, and I'd love someone to compare. Tell me a better 1-2 in a lineup in the history of Major League Baseball. Not two batters together, but leading off for 1-2 in the order. So Emmett Sheehan against Noah Davis here. And Noah Davis is not, he's not a bad pitcher. Coming off that 6-year loss at the Cubs, 3 earned runs over 5 innings. But his numbers at home have been ludicrous. In 7 innings, he's allowed 16 earned runs. 16 earned runs. Gunnar and Adley is interesting, Kadesh. Maybe in the end they'll have something to say about that. And Crystal saying Simeon and Seager. Sorry. I bet he gets that a lot. Sheehan 3-1, 5.13 ERA, 1.23 WHIP, 4 2/3 in his last start, 1 earned run, 9 Ks, 4 walks, 7-2 win at home over the Giants. But Noah Davis in 7 innings at home has allowed 16 earned runs in 7 innings at home. Opponents are hitting 474 off of him, and now he's got a Dodgers team that's still, maybe trying to put a bit of pressure on the Braves, I guess. Hitting 273, 793 OPS versus righties in September. Rockies 257.08. Dodgers bullpen 1.88 ERA right now. I mean, they're just rolling. We've talked about all of these parks that have negative offensive expectation. Not Colorado today. 79 Fahrenheit. It's 8.7 miles per hour right to left. Ice down to 7.2. But Ballpark Pal has this as a very offensive situation, as always in Colorado. Plus 31% home runs, plus 20% doubles and triples, plus 31% runs. Very, very offensive. Let's take a look at the line history here for this Dodgers spot. We have the Dodgers on the road sitting at minus 211. They opened up at minus 205. 6 cents of movement towards them. And let's move over to, here we go on. Oh, I like the Ricky and Lansford look, Ronnie. That's a fun one. It was a bad one too. Lineup, man. No doubt. For me, I don't know if it touches Mookie and Freeman, but I like the thought. The total sitting at 12.5. This is juiced to the under. This opened up at 11.5. So we've gone up a full run on this total. A full run. Wow. That's wild. And then when we go over to the cash flow for this Dodgers spot, we have 64% of the tickets, 87% cash on the over. And from a money line perspective, we're sitting with 35% of the tickets, but 76% cash on the Rockies and just a slight move towards the Dodgers. What's your plan here? Take it away, Dodgers, Rockies.
And I was looking at that Rockies money on the money line coming back in. I mean, why not? But in reality, you're looking at a 12 number, 12 and a half number, 7 on the total, 7.5 now for some spots for the Dodgers. So, and they're counting on the Rockies to get some runs here. I mean, if you like the Rockies, maybe look at that. But it's some of those 4.5s are juiced pretty high for the Rockies too. But I don't know. I just trying to figure out a way to get this thing done, as far as getting to the window. I couldn't come up with one. The totals are a little too high for me. It's out of my range as far as laying, the favorite, how that would work too. So this is a stay off spot for me. I couldn't find an angle that I like to bet on this particular game.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I don't find it appealing. I expect Noah Davis to be better. And I think Emmett Sheehan's going to continue to try and show he belongs on this postseason roster. But will the bats be there? The market is saying yes. It's not appealing here. Let's roll on. The Texas Rangers, 2.5 games up on the Astros, 3 games up on the Mariners with 5 games to play. 5 games to play here. And Dane Dunning not looking quite so good. Coming up that 8-5 win at home versus the Mariners, he had 4 earned runs over 5 1/3. He's had a good season. But doesn't look so good right now. On the road, He's been great. 3.3 ERA, 255 opponents batting average. I like Griffin Canning. A part of it's just the fact that he came back from that back injury. I mean, he was gone for a year and a half. Coming off a 5-4 loss at the Rays, he went 5 innings, allowed just 2 earned runs, and there's pressure on the Rangers, and we saw them buckle last night. Can Dunning handle it here? Is there value on the Los Angeles Angels early? From a total perspective, 3 games left before we get into college football. This is sitting at a 9. It opened up at 8.5, so we have a half run move to the over, but it's heavily juiced to the under, so it's not quite legitimate. We get over to the money line then in this spot. We have the Rangers aren't big favorites here. I mean, isn't that extremely telling? I mean, you'd think they'd be big favorites. They opened up at minus 155, and they're down to minus 142. They got down to minus 137. I mean, this was a big move. It was minus 154 for the Rangers at 9:24 a.m. At 11:15 a.m., it was down to minus 137. I mean, that's a big move. Let's take a look at the cash flow then for this spot. 33% of the tickets, 85% of the cash on the Angels. I wish I got a bigger number because I do find it appealing. 56% of tickets on the under and no word of the cash there. Deshaun G looking at Carter RBI and Halo's team total over. Eric Jones says Texas in a 5-8 straight up spot, 2-10 to the under. And both bullpens have been bad. The Angels aren't hitting righties. The Rangers are smashing, but there's pressure here. Take it away for us here, Doc. Rangers, Angels.
Yeah, just Dunning, like you say, Canning's been a pretty decent pitcher for them, coming back, and then Dunning, his last one, just I know they beat the Mariners last out for him, and a tough one with the Guardians, but they got a lot to play for still. They want to move forward. They want to catch some momentum going in, and I know there's a lot of pushback. I would like to know how big the bets are on the Angels. I mean, I see most of the money coming in on the dog side, the ticket count versus the money, that type of thing too. But I don't know, just on the road, it's a sleepy type of game for the Angels here in my book. So, and I would like to catch a little bit of a bigger price. I wouldn't mind backing them, but I don't want to get behind the Rangers too at the minus 1.5, and then the market moves telling too. So it's going to be a pass for me.
Yeah, it's a really interesting market here where you'd think that the Rangers would be big favorites and they're not. The Rangers are minus 150 full game, and they're minus 135 first 5. And that plus 115 that Bet365 is giving on the first 5, 15 cents, worse than the plus 130 for the Angels full game, is not, it's better than other books. Other books are hanging the 110. Yeah. Wow. I wonder if, it's just, there's just not enough. We talk about risk reward. There's just not enough risk reward here. I'd like to back the Angels, but don't you want to be rewarded big time if you, I don't know.
Playoff caliber, playoff team, and that pitching matchup. It's an interesting matchup. I think Cannon, he can come away with the win. I think they're betting on. I know they're betting Cannon is what they're doing. They're betting that he's going to have a solid game here, and a more recency type bias for Dunning here. So that's the look. And I think bat wise, they could pop up, and then the Rangers too. With I don't know. There's not enough value there, like you said. Not enough big enough price. It's marginal. It's a marginal play. I looked at the totals too with the Angels. You're looking at 3.5s. You think they get touched up for 3.5s, but their G's pretty high too. Seems somewhat 125s, 130s there too. I was thinking about taking the Angels on the run team total also possibly. I see a 115, 114. What can you get me on the Angels team total?
Let's grab it right now. The
But then I'm laying money there too. So
the Angels team total is 3.5 minus 118.
All right, go ahead. I'll take it. Give me that. I think they get runs here. I think they get runs.
Angels team total over 3.5 minus 118. This team keeps trying. I mean, that's what they're and it's funny. I said that to Jose, and it's still hard to press the button on the Angels, and I haven't been doing it.
Yeah.
Ragoo, Angels.
Even if they lose, I can still win. But I don't know. I think they got a shot to win. But like you said, I don't know about the. I think the risk reward's a little low. And then here I go getting off a plus money spot, taking a negative money spot. But I think they'll get the 4 runs. I think they get 4 runs here.
My guy Sammy Culmer in the house. RVD 420 looking at the first 5 over in this spot. Eric Jones leaning to the Angels, and he likes the under in this spot. Yeah, I guess I stay off of it, but I get it. Let's move on to the next game. It's pretty exciting. Not only is it Astros Mariners with a ton on the line, and I've got the over 87.5, and they're sitting at 85 wins, the Mariners. So there's a ton on the line. But we also have both specialty plays of the day on this one. Now I say both, and that's, of course, Pimp Slap and the ribeye play of the days have become such a big part of our show here as well. But Ron Crawford, we'll start here. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day is on the Houston Astros. And shout out to our guy, Ron Crawford. And then the taint play of the day is on the first 5 under 4.5. And shout out to Matty Ice and the Sweet Sweet Taint. And then the Trill OG play of the day is on the Astros minus 1.5.
Pub Sports Radio's the crew, that's a fact. We all about bread, making bank accounts fat. Who the hell is that? LJ from the H, I stack green like Boston. Shout out to Nasty Nate from down south, where we ride on slab. 420 highway smoking with that boy Dabby Cab. Swing by Dallas with them Cowboy fans so we can smoke out J Money, cause you know that's our mans. Us against the bookies, put money in our pockets. Fly out to Vegas, meet up with Ski Profit. Hit the sports books, we got money to stack. Can't forget them college picks with that boy Connor Mack.
Specialty plays of the day abound. And not only that, but young Jose Bouquet joining us for the next spot on the board. Jose Bouquet, still not the shining light that we remember, but he's moving on this one here. So let's discuss this spot here. We'll start with the line history. Mariners opening up plus 110, now at plus 107. Let's get into the total here, sitting at 8. And there has been a 3-cent move to the over from minus 102 to minus 105. So very little market movement in this one. Let's take a look at the cash here. 86% of the tickets on the under, but the line not moving, not budging. 50-50 on the tickets, but 61% of cash on the Seattle Mariners. Framber Valdez on the hill for the Astros. Let's see if this roof will be open here in Seattle, and it won't be. We have rain in the forecast, and it's down to 55 Fahrenheit, so we have a closed roof, which does help unders. Framber Valdez, last start, 7 runs, 6 earned, and a 7-5 loss at home versus the Royals. I mean, how did we get to this spot where the Astros could not make the playoffs? It's pretty wild. And on the road, Framber has been good this year, 3.42 ERA, 221 opponents batting average. Bryce Miller is an alpha dude. He comes out on the hill expecting to be the best pitcher in the game. And he got lit up by the Rangers in his last start. 8-5 loss at the Rangers. He is a bounce-back specialist. At home, 3.34 ERA and a 223 opponents batting average. But the Astros are smashing righties. No team in the league is hitting righties as hard as the Astros in September. 287, 782 or 872 OPS. And the Mariners are not hitting lefties. 238, 661 OPS. Astros bullpen 3.27 ERA in September. Mariners bullpen's been a little rougher, 4.17. Rob Free says he remembers when Valdez used to be a must bet. Let's see. And Christopher Comtini says Bryce Miller bounce back time, but you have spreadsheet and the Trill OG both on the Astros. Let's see what Jose has to say about this spot. T-Mobile, Astros, Mariners.
I'm going down with my squads. Yesterday I went down with the Red Sox. I've been down with the Mariners. It's quite funny. I made a small futures bet on the Mariners to win the World Series. And as soon as I made it, the Mariners went down into their shit spell and now are battling for their playoff lives. Yesterday, I labeled it as a must win for the Mariners if they wanted any shot to make the playoffs. And now this is another young must win. Both teams know it. Whoever wins this game will be in the playoffs. The team will be outside looking in when that last series left. And I'm going with my Seattle Mariners again here. Just going down with the ship. I'll take them. I believe I'm getting them full game money line. Yeah, plus 108, full game money line. Bryce Miller, a dog. I just hope that the Seattle Mariners fan base can get these guys over the fucking line. And then you've got a huge Rangers series. I mean, if the Mariners don't make the playoffs, Scott Service is done. You know, I just expect there's got to be consequences to this stuff. I think there'll be a lot of atmosphere energy in there. So I'm on the Mariners.
Wow. Sharpie's got, he sees red flags on both pitchers, but it expects them both to get touched. And it says Miller 2 times he's seen the Astros. Their isolated power was nothing higher than 150. No Altuve first game, no Tucker in the lineup in the second game. He gets the death squad lineup here. Jose on the Mariners at plus 108, going up against Ron Crawford and our guy LJ. What's Doc doing? Take it away, Doc. Astros, Mariners, our second to last game on the board.
Yeah, Miller, like he says, bounce back spot. He's been solid. He's a Texas kid. What is it more fitting for him to take out? His dream team when he was growing up as a kid. He always wanted to be an Astro. This kid, but now he gets to face him for a playoff implication type game. Valdez, he's been solid. His lone loss this year is to these Mariners. So it's going to be an interesting look here. I think I agree. I'm not agreeing with Jose, and I'm not agreeing with the squad, but I'm agreeing there's going to be runs scored here. And I think 8, for 2 really nice pitchers here that have had recent struggles, give me the over here, guys. Give me the over. I think that we get some runs out west on the West Coast here. So I'm climbing over the total. I'm going over the 8.
Let's line shop for the over in this.
Jose, you'll be on the island. I'll be on the island somewhat. I don't know what the chat thinks about the total here, but I like the over, and I think we'll see some runs here.
I am not going to get involved in a bet here. This has become important to me. Some of the spots,
extras here too.
Well, some of the spots I thought, minus 103. Thank you, Billy. Some of the spots I thought I was going to hit with the win totals have not. The Jays at one point I was like, I'm going to get there, and I'm not. So now I need this Mariners total as much, not nearly as much as I need the division for the Orioles. Sharpie says Astros and Braves over the last 2 seasons have been the best high velocity fastball hitting teams in the league, and Miller throws his fastball 64% of the time. He says, I like where you're going, Ragoo. And
I'm also, sorry to interrupt. I'm also, by the way, on the Angels. You were really talking about them as well. This is like my full, please let my future win single bets here, because I'm asking for the Astros to lose, the Mariners to win, and the Rangers to lose as well. I'm on the difference is I was only singling up those first 2 bets, Pirates and Mariners. I've doubled up on the Angels first 5 and full game as well. So.
Wow.
Is that because for your hatred of the Rangers, you've taken the?
Well, I don't even hate the Rangers. That's the thing, I've just always been down on the Rangers as a baseball team. They were hurt for a long time. That helped us out, but their pitching is just disgusting. And like Jimmy has talked about many times in the last couple of weeks, the Angels are trying. They got guys on that team that want contracts. They've got young players on that team trying to establish themselves.
Yeah.
So I think there's motivation, and I'm just.
I got them. I got the team total. I'm on the over. Team total over. So.
And maybe I'm just hoping that my futures bets cash, and I can cash all these as well. But I like the Angels today, especially with sharp money on the Angels today, seemingly.
You got it locked
Thank you, brother.
in. Exciting. So many moving parts for this game that we will be watching tonight. Let's get into our final spot on the board in baseball. Before we get into our NCAA football best bets, we have 5 games in NCAA football. 9:45 p.m. Eastern, San Diego Padres 78-80, 34-43 on the road at the Giants, 78-80, 44-33 at home at Oracle Park, San Francisco, California. Let's get into the weather there. In the Bay, 64 Fahrenheit, 17.8 miles per hour to right field. Stays between 17.4 and 18.4 throughout the game. We know it swirls there, so it's not as big of a deal. In saying that, Ballpark Pal has this as more offensive than we're used to. Second most offensive spot on the board. That includes the minus 22% home run numbers, plus 13% doubles and triples, plus 10% singles, plus 3% overall runs. So let's get over to the line history here for this spot. We're sitting at an 8, and it's juiced to the over. It opened up at 8.5, so it just dropped to. It didn't just drop; dropped to 7 in the morning. So we have a move towards the under, and let's get over to the money line here, and the money line is sitting with Mania and the Giants at minus 101. They opened minus 103, so really no movement. Let's get to the cash flow for this last spot on the board, and we have 21% of the tickets and 56% of the cash on the San Francisco Giants. It's a bit of a surprise. And then from the total side of things, we are sitting with 75% of tickets, 85% of cash on the over, and yet it's dropped from 8.5 to 8. Billy Friedrich says Manaea's pitched really well at home and had a pretty nice past 2 months, although he got Sheldon's only outing versus the Padres this season. I backed him one time at home and was like, this should be a good ballpark for him. And we see these bum pitchers like Jacob Junis and others pitch well at home. And it was not the case. Manaea coming off a beautiful start at the Dodgers. 7 innings, no earned runs, keeping his career alive. At home, he's got a 3.51 ERA and a 200 opponents batting average. But look what the Padres have been doing, the lefties in September. 340 with a 1,032 OPS. Giants' righties 224, 707. I mean, that really can turn you off of backing a lefty. Matt Waldron on the other side, not a highly thought of prospect at all. Let's see do I still have Waldron's numbers up here? I don't. Not a highly thought of pitcher. 4.58 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. But his last start was nice. 1 earned run over 5 2/3 and a 4-2 win at home against the Cardinals. He's only thrown 10 1/3 innings on the road this year and being lit up. 6 earned runs in those innings. There's our guy Kelly McInnes in the house. Thank you for rocking with us. Take it away for us here, Doc. Our last game on the board, Padres Giants.
Yep. Both of these teams trying to finish up after disappointing seasons for both, especially the Padres, I would say more so. But although they have won 10 of the last 12, hitting the ball well, like you say, smashing lefties. I think they hit Manaea today. I really do. But how do we back them, with Waldron? I don't trust Waldron here. I was going to take the Pods on the run line because the way they've been hitting lefties. And I know Manaea, I think last time Manaea won back in August, didn't he? Like 7-2 against his last out against them. But I don't know. I'm going to be off this spot, really, in reality. I had marked down Padres on the run line plus like 155, but I'm going to stay away on this spot because of Waldron here, even though I think they kind of touch up Manaea. So, but disappointing season for both squads. I think Padres in a better spot right now, but questions: do I trust Waldron enough to get on margin with this team here? Maybe first 5, but I don't think. I think Manaea gets hit too, so maybe the total is a way to go here. Maybe over, but you said there's pushback on the over 8.5, right?
Very surprising. Yeah, drop down to 8 and all the money on the over.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. So I'm going to pass here.
Yeah, this is not appeal. It just doesn't correlate enough. Let's review all MLB action before we get into our best bets in college football. We have the ass eater play today from Reclaim James Oryx Buffaloes. He's 8-1. The ass eater play today 8-1. Matty Ice gave us the taint play today. Houston, Seattle first 5 under 4.5. Also on Baltimore full game run line. Reds money line. Arizona first 5 -0.5, and he also likes the Tigers full game run line. Ragoo gets his card started with the first 3 under 2.5 plus 115 in Arizona, Chicago. That game pops off in an hour, exactly 1 hour. Then game 1 of the Marlins New York Mets when it all came down to it. Although Garrett and Senga seem like a matchup that will go to the under. I don't want to back two pitchers that just shut down the opponents 5 days ago. The Cueto fade interests me here, so I'll want to see when Cueto's in there. The Guardians first 5 minus a half, I think will be on my card. I just really don't like the way Abbott's pitching, and I don't put it past Bieber to look okay here off the hop. The problem is that it's a minus a half situation, which I don't like, and they're not hitting lefties. So we'll have to see if I get to the window there. Ragoo's on the over 8 minus 103 in the stacks play today. Jose Ramirez over 1.5 bases at plus 100. The Rays at minus 120 for the big Ragoo. Then he's on the Orioles team total over 4.5. I have some interest in the first 5 under 4.5, and I'm going to go over a couple options. I think that the Orioles do get it done tonight. I didn't realize that there was time to pop the bottle and pick up 2.5K if they get there. Royals, Tigers, no action for us. The Pirates, I'm going to be involved in. I'm going to be involved in the Pirates.
I was sent a picture by one Sharpie to help us feel better about betting the Pirates.
Yeah.
If you guys remember, good old Ranger Suarez was the pitcher last year when they clinched the day after they clinched. And Sharpie sent me this picture and reminded me how Ranger Suarez celebrated last year. So maybe keep that in the back of your heads. As you guys know, maybe Ranger likes to get after it a bit.
Ranger parties, man. Ranger parties. I love it. Ragoo is on Cole over 18.5 outs at plus 143. And the first 5 under 3.5 in Yankees, Jace. I'm going to be on that first 5 under 3.5. Ragoo is on the Braves. First 5 minus a half and minus 106. A's, Twinkies, we stayed off. I have interest in the over in Cardinals, Brewers, Dodgers, Rockies, we stayed off. Ragoo's on the Angels, team total over 3.5 minus 118. Jose is on the Angels first 5 and full game. Ragoo's on the over 8 in Mariners, Astros. Jose is on the Mariners at plus 108. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today is Houston. Trilogy play today is Houston minus 1.5. And the Taint play today is that first 5 under 4.5. Padres, Giants, we stayed off. And that is our MLB action for today. Let's get into best bets in college football. And we have the biggest and most exciting games here on the board. Ragoo goes after the big dogs, man. I love his lineup of games. So let's get right after it. We start at 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. The number 8 ranked USC Trojans 4-0, 2-0 in the Pac-12 at the Colorado Buffalo Neon Dion Primetime Sanders Buffaloes 3-1, 0-1 in the Pac-12. We're in Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado. It's an early start for both of these squads. Let's get into the line history here for this huge game. Let's get into it right now. Sorry, let me just quickly move over to college football. We'll get over to the Saturday action, and there it is, USC Colorado. Colorado, we're going to go to Pinnacle line movements here as we do. Colorado sitting at plus 21.5 at minus 109. They opened up at plus 22.5. It's a 1-point move towards the Buffalo. Let's get over to the total here for Colorado, and we have it's sitting at 74.5. Ooh-wee. This opened up 73.5. It's now 74.5. It is juiced to the under. Let's get over to the cash flow for this giant football game. We have, okay, move over here. Did I go too far? Let's get over to Saturday action. And, God, sorry, my fault. Let me move this up here. There we go. We have 60% of the tickets and 81% of the cash on USC, 61 and 81. From a total perspective here, we have 51% of the tickets and 82% cash on the over. Steve G on USC money line and the under. Nasty Nick says Red Sox smash. Wine Time says USC gave up 28 points to Arizona State University. He says he will be betting Colorado plus 21.5. Colorado was in a very hostile environment last week and faced a good defense in Oregon. This USC defense is non-existent, especially against Sanders and this offense. Yes, that is appealing here. That is appealing. Yes, that's a 10 a.m. local start. 10 a.m. local start here for this spot. The Trojans opened up their season with 3 dominant performances, at least offensively. Maybe you say the San Jose State game wasn't one, and that's fair. They won at home. defeating San Jose State 56-28, then Nevada 66-14, followed that up by beating Stanford 56-10. Then last week, they went out on the road for the first time and defeated Arizona State just 42-28 as 34.5-point favorites. I like fading teams on their first road game of the year, and you'll see that come up in my spots, my best bets to start the week. And, we didn't see it in certain situations. If a team has been like the Miami Hurricanes have been, shit on, and Mario Cristobal's team being shit on for so long that they go out and go play Temple, and it's a real easy situation for them to be pumped up for. But generally, that was a great spot to back Arizona State. And it was just 24-21 halfway through the third quarter. The Trojans scoring 55 points per game. They're putting up 569.3 yards per game. Caleb Williams is a monster. 15 touchdowns, 1 pick. But defense is an issue. They gave up 28 points to Arizona State. Arizona State moved the ball all game. They went 9 of 20 on third down. They're allowing these weak opponents to put up 364.5 yards per game. What will Neon Dion's Colorado Buffaloes be able to do? They opened up with that unbelievable 45-42 win at TCU before smashing Nebraska at home 36-14, and then came some adversity, the 43-35 double overtime victory at Colorado State. And last week we saw a very hungry Oregon Duck squad put a beating on the Buffaloes 42-6 in Eugene as 21-point favorites. Oregon outgained Colorado 522-199. Now we get to see Shedeur Sanders and Colorado and see what they're made of. Sanders, 76.9% completion percentage, 1,410 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 pick. They should be able to get points here. Take it away for us, Doc. Best bet number 1 from the Big Ragoo. Floor is yours.
Yeah, these are games I put together for the show that I like a lot, and I'll hang a best bet on them. I'll hang out of a 5-star play. I put it at a strong 4+, but only but the best for our guys in the chat. This particular spot here, right? We heard the Dion hype. We heard all of it. And Oregon wasn't going to have any part of that shit. They're like, you know what? Not on our watch, guys. You're playing big boy ball now. I get the first 2 W's for the upset one with TCU. I get that. I get the Nebraska, which already had that as one of their 2.5 team total wins, which they've already clipped that early in the year. If you bet Colorado, they were the lowest in FBS. 2.5 was the team total over the wins, and that cashed, right? So we're good to go there. But now, we're in big boy football, and USC, I bet them early on with the Arizona State game. I had a team total over with them there. I don't think they covered the number on that particular game, the plus 34 cash in that particular spot. But then they've been in all over games for 62.5, 62.5, 66.5. And when it hit 70, when they played Stanford, Stanford didn't do their part. USC won 56-10. So now how does Colorado pick themselves off the ground after getting smashed in the mouth? They will do that. Colorado is going to score points in this game because USA will let them score points. When I say let them, they're defensively are not going to be up to the task to kind of slow down. So teams that would score 28 points or better will put the game over for USC in that regard. I know it's a high number. It's huge. It's 74 points. That's a big, big number. It's 74 for a reason, guys. It's 74 for a reason. My numbers have Dion's team scoring 30-plus points in this particular spot, and I have USC scoring 50-plus numbers here. So my number look is into the 80s on this. I've got about 8+ points of value here on the total. So I'm going to be all over this fucking over like a cheap suit. I think Colorado, can they keep it close within the number? It's going to go down to 1 score for Colorado where they can eclipse the 30 and the higher 30s. If they do that, if Colorado can score 35, then they'll cover the number. If they can't, they won't cover. But USC is definitely going to be in the 50s. Colorado will be in the 30s. This game climbs over 80 with ease. So I'm on the over.
That's going to be a fun watch for you. And we do have a 73.5 minus 108 at Heritage. The best spot on the board. Ragoo moves on the over 73.5 at minus 108.
They'll pick themselves up. They'll dust themselves off a little bit, get back to So usually when you get punched, college is not like the pros. We all know that. Usually when a college, when the kids get beat up pretty good, they have a tough time bouncing back. But they were expected to lose that game. I think they respond with another effort here. That they I wouldn't say embarrassed, but it's kind of embarrassing loss for them. It was an expected loss, but I think they answered the bell here. Obviously they're not going to win the game. I'm not going to say there's no way because anything's possible, but I see a lot better effort out of Dion and his gang against USC, who's able to let them score. Oregon's built differently than USC. The USC a lot of points, but they're also scored a ton of points on this Colorado squad.
And Mr. Vape says, what is USC's team total? The team total for USC, 48.5, juice to the under. Team total for Colorado, 25.5, juice to the over.
Yeah.
All right, Doc is on the board. Let's move on to best bet number 2 from the Big Ragoo. Virginia Cavaliers 0-4, 0-1 in the ACC. At the Boston College Eagles 1-3, 0-2 in the ACC. We're at Alumni Stadium in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Let's get into the line history for this one. Pops off at 2 p.m. And here we go. This has gone through the big important number of 3. This opened up. Oh, Pinnacle's still hanging the 3. So Pinnacle hasn't moved it to 3.5 yet like the other books. In fact, they had. And it came back at 9:43 this morning. Wow. So this finally got to the 3.5 at 9:39. And Virginia buyback brought it right back to 3 within 3 minutes. Huh. Very, very, very interesting. From a total scenario here, we are sitting at 55. Pinnacle is hanging a 54.5, and this opened up at 56, so a 1.5 drop down. Then we get into the cash flow for this one. Cash-wise, 43% of the tickets, 49% of the cash on Virginia. Then 60% of the tickets and 88% of cash on the over, yet it's dropping. Virginia has now lost 7 straight games. Opened up their season by getting beaten badly by Tennessee at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, 49-13, before losing their home opener in the heartbreaker, 36-35 to James Madison. Now they were 6-point dogs. They covered. They then traveled to Maryland, imploded in the fourth quarter of a 42-14 loss, 3 picks in the fourth quarter. And I mean, it was 21-14 late, but fell apart. Then last week they played ex-quarterback Brennan Armstrong in the Wolfpack. Tough 24-21 loss at home as 8-point dogs. Calandria has looked good. He's looked good, but 6 interceptions and 5 touchdowns. But what did you expect from a 3-star recruit that's 5'10", and he's a freshman? Boston College opened their season with a shock loss at home in overtime to Northern Illinois' 8-point favorites. Then they barely got by FCS Holy Cross at home, 31-28. That's why it was a big surprise when they almost defeated then number 3 Florida State at home, losing 31-28 as 25.5-point dogs. And they deserved to win that game. They outgained the Seminoles 457-350. Keep in mind, from my action, Florida State, first road game against a team that, does not, did anybody really care? And they didn't show up. Now, all of that momentum got snapped last week for Boston College in a 56-28 loss at Louisville as 14-point dogs. But 5'10" sophomore quarterback Thomas Castellanos continues to impress. Take it away for us here, Doc. Game number 2 on your card, Cavaliers, Eagles.
Yeah. The key point there, like you said, when Boston College came out of that FSU game, they should have won without a doubt. Then they go play a real tough Louisville squad. They didn't cover in that game. The game did go over. All these games have gone over for Boston College: 53, 48, 52.5, 50.5. So they're able to put 24, 31, 28, 29 points on the board. Virginia has some offensive struggles. They really do. Even though, like you say, Calandria, he's had some decent, the true freshman coming off the bench, earning that job, taking over that team. But it's a team still looking for their first win. They really are. And I know there's been a little bit of pushback coming back on their way for the 3.5. But I think they're going to have a tough ask against Boston College up in Boston, trying to get that win on the road, just in reality, I think the numbers are way too short here. I got this better than a touchdown in my book for Boston College. I think they played the tougher games, even though they covered. They didn't cover against Holy Cross. That's a sleepy game, just like Florida State going in there, almost walking away with the L there. But I think this game would be more focused for them. Getting back in conference play too. Third game in conference play. First two out of conference, third game in conference. So they want to chalk up a cup for conference wins. And Virginia's still looking to get a W. I think this is a great spot for Boston College to cover that number, even though it's pushed back at 3.5, whatever. I got them by a touchdown or better here. So I'm on Boston College.
Boston College, do you want the 3?
Yeah, I'll take the 3. You're going to give me the 3, I'll take the 3. I mean, 3 is the key number, right? 3, 7, 10, those are the numbers. So anytime I can get to a 3, I'll take it, without laying minus 125 or something like that.
Boston College, this is music to our guy Nasty Nate's ear. Boston College -3, -115 available right now at Pinnacle. All right, it is my turn to fire off a best bet. 3:30 p.m. Eastern, the number 2 ranked Michigan Wolverines 4-0, 1-0 in the Big Ten at Nebraska Cornhuskers 2-2, 0-1 in the Big Ten. We're at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. Let's move over to the line history here for this one. Total wise, it's very low. We're sitting at a 39.
Wow.
39. This opened up at 40.5 and has dropped to 39. Then we'll go into the spread here. The spread is sitting at +17. It opened up at +18. When this opened up at 18, and this was on Sunday at 7:42 p.m., at midnight that night, it moved a full 1.5 in Nebraska's direction to 16.5. That's a big move. It's a big move. Now it bounced back 10 hours later to 17. Since it's been at 17, there's been times when this +17's been juiced up to -117. There's been times when this 17's been juiced down to -106. But right now it's -115 for Nebraska. +17 at -115. Steve G on Michigan and the over. Here we go. Let's go over to... Oh, that's both everything. Let's go over to the cash flow. The cash flow here is 61% of the tickets are on Michigan. The public, of course, is on Michigan. 44% of the cash, though. So Nebraska is 39 and 56. 37% of tickets are on the under and 72% of cash. 72% of cash on the under. Michigan's defense has looked dominant in 4 easy home wins. Victories over East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, Rutgers. They've outscored their opposition 127-23. They've been dominating opposing offenses at home, at the Big House, in front of 100,000 fans. Last week against Rutgers, as 24-point favorites, they didn't take the lead until there was 1 minute and 41 seconds left in the second quarter. Yeah, they slowly wear down their opposition. But all those games have taken place in their stadium, in their situation, in front of their fans. Now they head out onto the road against a weak Nebraska squad. Nebraska opened their season with road losses at Minnesota 13-10 and Colorado 36-14. Then they came home to Lincoln. They defeated Northern Illinois 35-11 as just 11.5-point favorites. The Matt Rule defense held the Huskies to 149 total yards. Then they were a little sloppier defensively against La Tech. They beat them at home 28-14 as 20.5-point favorites. They ran for 312 yards in the win. What has changed? Yes, they've come home, but it's this 6'5" sophomore quarterback dual threat Heinrich Harburg. He's been under center, and he's changed the dynamic of this offense. He's been leading the team in the passing and rushing game. He's run 42 times for 272 yards. That's 6.5 yards per carry for 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, he's only completing 51.1% of his passes, but the dual threat is a big deal. And they love to run the ball. Matt Rule loves to run the ball. They're averaging 234.8 rushing yards per game right now. Does Michigan care about coming to Lincoln to play Nebraska? Because this is the biggest game of the season for the Cornhuskers. Yes, Michigan dominated Nebraska last year, 34-3, but that was in Michigan at the Big House. Matt Rule is building momentum with his squad. How good is J.J. McCarthy? Sure, he's completed 80% of his passes, 915 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 3 picks. 8 touchdowns and 3 picks against those minnows. Look at who they went up: East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, and Rutgers. You're going to only throw 8 touchdowns and 3 picks. Blake Corum looks good, 6.1 yards per attempt. He's not going to do that here against Nebraska. Wine Time Sports says he will be betting Nebraska. I will be betting Nebraska. Steve G says Nebraska only scored 1 TD versus a crappy Colorado defense. That was not with Henrik Harburg in control of the offense. They're a different team now. They're at home in their biggest game of the season. My best bet on the board is Nebraska plus 17. And I bet it. Take it away, Doc. What do you think of my look on the Huskers?
I fucking love it. I love it. Now, I got a strong lean on Nebraska. I haven't made it official, but when that was one of the first games I looked at, and I thought about not making it a best bet. But when I looked at it, I said, you know what? This is all Nebraska. It's got to be all sharp Nebraska money coming this way, because the total is going to indicate it, number one. So if you like Nebraska and you're looking at a 40-point game, what's that telling you? That's telling you that Nebraska is going to control the pace. On the offensive side, they're going to slow the game down for Michigan. And usually Rule is not a guy. I mean, he's a pro. He turns programs around. He's done it twice. And both times, I think he's won like a total of 3 games. We're not asking Nebraska to win here, guys. We're asking them to kind of, just be competitive and make the game make some things go their way. So definitely don't see a Michigan blowout here. I see Nebraska, competing at home. Like you said, big game at home for them. This is their college championship game. Yeah, it's year 1 for them with Rule, and I get that. And we know Michigan's ranked number 2 in the nation. And everything's telling. The spread, the total, all indicators point to Nebraska on this game as far as the numbers are concerned. They don't come away with the win, but maybe it's one of these, like Jimmy said, one of these sleeper games. Who cares? Michigan thinks they're going to go in there and just come out with the W, and that's the look on this game for me too. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Nebraska would be the play.
I love it. And then Michigan, of course, next week is in Minnesota, so they have back-to-back road games. I can't wait to cap that Minnesota game after what we see here in this game. Is this something that you want to make official for your college football record?
Not at this particular moment, but I should. But I'm not going to do it on the show.
Cool, all good. Let's move on to Big Ragoo best bet number 3 here, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Now, I led people into a bear pit when I was on Sam Houston last week. Now, the side still went 3-2-1. The under was a mess immediately. I got in live on the under 46.5, and I mean, I only cashed that by 1.5, but I covered the loss on the total. I didn't cover loss on the side. I knew that there was a problem when I retweeted Doc's action, and his 2-unit best bet was on the Houston Cougars. And I've gone back. So what did I miss? What was I doing wrong? And of course, looking back at it, this was after Houston lost so badly to TCU. Of course, they were going to be ready to play a double-digit dog in-state rival. That was a mistake. It was a mistake, and it's important to say, and it's important in horse racing too. What did I do wrong here? And go over it. What did I do wrong? Don't make the same mistakes. Remember, what the problem with our look on the fading the Cougars last week was we were selling them low. And it's a mistake to sell any team low. You only sell them high. And when you did your 2-unit bet on the Cougars, I was instantly filled with fear. Let's see what Doc does this week. Houston Cougars at Texas Tech Red Raiders. We're at Jones AT&T Stadium in Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah, that was, like you said, a 2-unit play for me. I did use my best bet was Wake Forest minus 3.5, and that crashed and burned immensely against Georgia Tech. But I'm coming back to them, and the look this week is a little differently, but it's still an offensive look because I had the over. I had a very strong lean on the over on that game too, and I think we get that look this week too against Tech here. in-state rival, somewhat of an in-state rival. Kids get recruited to go to the same schools and everything. And Houston offensively is definitely up to the challenge here. And I like what Tech is always one of these teams that we think about teams in the Big 12 that kind of step up on the defensive side of the ball. We talk about Oklahoma State, we talk about Texas Tech when they should be stepping up for the defenses, and they don't. And I don't see Tech really. I see them scoring points against Houston. This is a game, after they're coming off a big offensive effort, where they're going to get up again for that same type of effort. I think they're going to come up a little short here on the defensive side. Both teams will. I think Tech is going to probably get up in the 30s, the mid 30s, and I think Houston gets up in the higher 20s. They don't put the numbers up they put up last week, but they definitely get on the board here. Both teams do, and I think it's low hanging fruit on the total here. I think we're seeing like 50 some odd points, low 50s. I could see this game getting into the middle 60s with ease. So yeah, you put me on the total here on the over. I think I think Houston still presents some value as a dog too. I do lean taking the points here. I think 2 scores is too many. I think it comes to a 1-score game, but I still like going over. And I think some of the markets push back on the under. Right? What's the numbers on the under? With the market?
Huge move to the under.
Yeah. See, everybody always thinks that Tech's going to push that defense, but I think Houston's offense is up to it. So if you like the under, you got to like Houston here, just for the fact that the Houston keep it close, but I still think the game gets over the total. I think there's two. I think it's an overlay with the price on the side. So, but I still like I like the over better. I don't think there's going to be a big defensive push by Tech. I think Houston's still going to put points up. You think I'm talking on the Houston side, right? But no, I'm taking the over. I'm taking Tech to score. I'm taking Houston to score. It puts the game over the total.
This total opened up at 56.
Yeah, I think it's gone too far is what I'm trying to say. It's gone too far.
50.5.
Yeah, I'm catching a better number for the over. So, and I've been known to do that a time or two.
All right, Ragoo is on the over 50.5 here, minus 105, because even now it's juiced to the under. From a side perspective here, this open Texas Tech minus 10, they're down to minus 7.5.
Yeah, Houston's definitely the play too.
Wow. Houston also the look here. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. 71% of the tickets, 67% of the cash on Houston market moving in their direction. 89% of the tickets and 96% of the cash on the under. And our guy Doc going into the teeth of that. Kong's Clips, my man. Thank you for the support. Respect. And Coin moved on Nebraska plus 17 last night. I love it. So just a quick background of the situation here. Houston outgained the Bearcats 538 to 178. Donovan Smith, looked strong. Samuel Brown, Matthew Golden, Joseph Manjack, they were all rolling. And it's been a rough start for Texas Tech. They opened up with a double overtime 35-33 loss at Wyoming before almost beating Oregon at home 38-30. Now, they were just 4.5-point dogs in that spot. Then they beat up on FCS Tarleton 41-3. Before going to West Virginia last week and losing 2013 as 6-point favorites. For 3 years in a row, Tyler Shugg, is he the guy? We've asked this for 3 years in a row. What is your answer to, is Tyler Shugg the guy? No?
I don't know, man. So far, there's going to come a point in time where they're going to get fed up. And, but you got to win those key games on the road and conference games like that. You got to win them. You got to win them. And that's a letdown spot. It's a major letdown game for them. So I think they bounce back this way. I think they score points, but I think it's too many. I really think it's too many.
Here is the last spot on the board. It is my best bet. Here we go. 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Number 1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs 4-0, 1-0 in the SEC at the Auburn Tigers 3-1, 0-1 in the SEC. We're in Auburn, Alabama for this one. Let's go into the line history here for Auburn, Georgia. When I look at these things to correlate, and they don't fully correlate, we know what Kirby does on the road with Georgia. They cover on the road. They don't cover at home, for whatever reason. So you could say that it doesn't all correlate. But when I'm looking for certain things to match up, I rarely get the marquee games. Usually it's the quieter, smaller schools. But this all worked together for me here. Auburn opening up at plus 16.5 and now at plus 14.5. That move from 16.5 to 14.5 took 12 hours. 12 hours. But that's a big move. 1.5 move to Auburn. From a cash flow scenario, let's go into the total in this spot. And here we go for this one at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It's sitting at 47, and it opened up at 47. Opened up and is sitting at. So, Rant says Georgia should smash Auburn quarterback bad. Well, they're using 3 now. And yes, everybody's going to be on Georgia. All of these bets that I've been giving out here on sides, they've been going up against the public. I'm doing it again here. 31% of the tickets and 37% of the cash is on Auburn. 52% of the tickets and 97% of cash is on the over. So Georgia comes in off of 4 home games to start the season. Same thing with Michigan. 4 home games, comfort, all that. They opened up by beating up on FCS UT Martin 48-7. Then they did the same to Ball State 45-3. Then came a surprisingly close game with South Carolina, defeating them 24-14 as 27-point favorites. They were down 14-3 at the half.
Yeah, third quarter.
After that disappointing effort, they didn't come close to covering UAB 49-21 at home as 40-point favorites. Now, look, their defense is still very, very good. And Kirby Smart is 22-12 against the spread on the road. That's the 6th best record in all college football. And they don't cover at home for whatever reason. So, he's a really good coach. Auburn has dominated minnows in their 2 home games this year. They beat up on UMass 59-14 and FCS Samford 45-13. They've not covered their road games. We were all on Cal in that 14-10 win for Auburn. It got down to 5, but we got in at 6.5. Cal should have won that game outright, but Hugh Freeze, they got the job done. And they lost badly to Texas A&M last week, 27-10 as 9.5-point dogs. Auburn has scored 24 points combined against the 2 Power 5 opponents on the season. Nobody's going to want them this week. Nobody. And the market's moving in their direction. Peyton Thorne was awful. 6-12 for 44 yards in the loss. They could be using 3 different quarterbacks on Saturday. Auburn only had 200 yards of offense and was 3 of 15 on third down. That's where I want a college football team. I want them just getting slapped in the face, and I want them to be so intense all week at practice, knowing that the number 1 team in the nation is coming to town. That's what I want. That's what I want from Auburn. This is Hugh Freeze's biggest spot all season, the toughest spot all season, the one he's been planning for months. You think that he was strategizing the Cal game in the offseason, or do you think he was planning on how he's going to handle Georgia coming to Auburn, Alabama? I'm on Auburn at plus 14.5 in Georgia's first road game. What do you think of this spot here, Doc?
I think it's a tough spot. I really do. I mean, I love the theory. I mean, I love, and I was the guy who was saying last year after about the second or third game that Hugh Freeze was going to be coaching at Auburn. So in the back of his mind, if it came to fruition when they got rid of Harsin, it was a toxic environment last year, and Boss can tell you all about the Harsin issue down there. But to tell you the truth, I didn't think they would have 3 games under their belt already, Auburn. I figured this is where it really gets tough for them going forward. They'll be lucky to win a game in the SEC the rest of the way out. I'll go on record saying that right now. But all things being fair to Freeze, he is going to get that program turned around. And if there's a spot for him to get this team motivated, this is absolutely the game of the year for them, right? Like you were saying. But my only question is, does he have the talent to compete? I know he has a game plan to put it in play, but whether he puts the product on the field that's going to slow Georgia down. Now, to be fair to Georgia, or not to be fair to Georgia, they got a young quarterback, Carson Beck, who's trying to gain traction and get that program going. But like you said, the defense with Georgia, it's still there. So they might have their offensive struggles. It's just if Georgia's going to make something happen, it's going to be defensively. And you see the low number there. I mean, come on, it's a 47. I mean, Georgia could trip over 47 points in normal circumstances, but they're going to have their struggles. They really are. So I see a very low scoring game here, and that bodes well for your plus point scenario too. So it's not one I'm going to get to the window with, but I understand the logic. But I'm on shaky ground at this spot here.
I get it. I was happy that you supported one of them, really, because I know these aren't popular spots.
I mean, I don't hate it. I just think it's going to be a real tough spot but the new quarterback for Georgia, playing on the road, like you said, unfamiliarity for that role for this kid, but he's going to be developed. But Kirby thinks he can win now, so that's why they're going with this kid. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I get it. I get the look. I don't hate it. I don't like it either, but I don't hate it either. How's that?
I hear you. Auburn Tigers at home. Nobody is going to be on them, and yet the market is moving towards them.
Yeah, well, you're on the side with the sharps right now, so they know something. So hopefully, they know enough.
We'll see. And I wouldn't be doing this if Georgia had road games under their belt. I wouldn't be betting this. Simply,
I like the angle. I love the angle. And it's been working. Keep cashing, my man. Keep cashing.
Well, let's see. What a treat it is to cap sports with you, Doc. We are also fortunate that you run with us. So I'm on Auburn plus 14.5. Doc is on the over 50.5 in Houston, Texas Tech. I am on Nebraska plus 17. Doc is on Boston College minus 3. And he's on the over 73.5 in USC, Colorado. We did review MLB, but we'll do it one more time. Ragoo's on the over 8 on Astros Mariners. Jose's on the Mariners plus 108. The trilogy play today from LJ is the Astros minus 1.5. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today is the Astros minus 115. And the taint play today is the first 5 under 4.5. Doc is on the Angels team total over 3.5. Jose is on the Angels first 5 in full game. Dodgers Rockies, we stayed off. I'm interested in the over in Cardinals Milwaukee. I'll be looking at that here. A's Minnesota, no action. Braves first 5 minus 0.5 at minus 106 for Doc, backing Darius Vines. First 5 under 3.5 in cold over 18.5 outs for Doc. I'm going to be on the first 5 under 3.5 as well. Jose is on the Pirates first 5. Ragoo's on the first 5 under 4 in the Pirates full game. I'm going to be backing the Pirates first 5 and full game. Royals Tigers, no action. Ragoo's on the Orioles team total over 4.5. I'm interested in the first 5 under 4.5 in that Orioles. I don't know if I'll get to the window, but I'm going to be studying it here after the game. Ragoo is on the Rays money line, and he's on the over 8 in Reds Guardians. Stacks play today. Ramirez over 1.5 bases. I do have interest in the Guardians first 5 minus 0.5. I want to fade as soon as I see Cueto and where he's pitching. I'm going to fade him for that opportunity. And Ragoo's on the first 3 under 2.5 here in the Diamondbacks White Sox game that starts in 21 minutes. That is our show for today. Don't forget the ass eater play today is the Oryx Buffaloes. He's 8-1 with that. Thank you guys so much, man. Thank you. Yes, taint play today is the first 5 under 4.5 in Astros Mariners. Thank you guys. Andre, BJ, Dom Play, Wine Time, Kong's Clip, Saturated, North Ender, Equinimus, Jeffrey Moore, Steve G, Goggles, Justin McElvey, Rants, Tori Coker, all you guys. We have nothing without you. Thank you so much. Wally in the house, Coin, truly, you guys, Ronnie and Bergia, you guys make this show so special. Billy Friedrich, Jay Peasy, thank you guys for all of the support. Matt Complex, JT, thank you guys for all of your support. Markel, it's such a wonderful opportunity we have to cap with you guys each and every day. And to do it with Doc is an honor. Thank you, Doc. Any last words for the cappers supporting the show?
My pleasure, guys. My pleasure. Hey, let's have a big day today, guys. And let's have a big rest of the weekend. Leche, A Los Bookmakers, baby.